Well, Highguard is almost here, and we're going to do the waiting room. If you're watching this later, you missed hanging out. We will do a separate stream to react to the event. There was a capture event. A lot of creators are, sharing their thoughts. If you missed it, we did a Gaming News Tonight stream with my wife last night. It was supposed to happen Saturday. We are going to start doing that on Saturdays instead of Fridays. It seems like more of you can actually come to the show when we do it on a Saturday. Friday's also kind of tough for us. Our schedule's very full that day. So we were going to do it Saturday. We had to bump it. Madam was getting over not feeling so hot. And so we did that last night, and we did react, to creators. There's a bit of a highlight reel floating around. We made our observations. If you haven't watched that show just yet, my observations were largely that, people are staying pretty generic, which is expected. I don't expect people to go to a preview event, have a camera in their face, and be like, it's terrible. I also don't expect anybody to come back from something like that and to say anything negative. That's not to say that anybody's being dishonest. I just think people are polite. And so going to an event like this, having fun, getting kind of wined and dined, having your trip paid for, that obviously is an element of, payment. So there are some people saying, well, I paid my way. They didn't pay me anything. You are still agreeing to a contract. You are still getting early access to a game. You are still getting paid. Like, access is payment. I think we really need to establish that in the industry, both for the journalists and the outlets who are paid with access, whether they get access to a press briefing or a game or a review copy. That is a form of payment that is disclosed to the public for good reason. This all started in the past when there were reviews of different things coming out, and that wasn't disclosed, that they had been given actual sponsorship money. So now it actually is required that if you get review access to a game, early access to a game, or what have you. Now, none of this is a problem. This is all standard practice in the industry, but it is something that needs to be understood. That anytime you're given access to a game, a press briefing, if you have a really good relationship with the developer, that is going to play a role. That's not to say that anybody's coming back and saying they had fun when they didn't. I believe these people went and had fun. The question about Highguard has never been, could you play it for an afternoon and have some laughs and have some fun and, you and your boys play a couple of games? The question has always been about all live service games. We've had this conversation many times about X-Defiant, Kill the Justice League, Concord. We've had this conversation about Arc Raiders. We've had this conversation about Helldivers. We've had this conversation about Marathon. And, we're going to have that conversation about Highguard because that is the true test. That is the true challenge. Can you keep people coming back? You can have season passes. You can have content. You can have press events where everybody's very kind and says nice things about your game, but that's not the fundamental test of a live service game. The fundamental test of a live service game is whether or not it can capture and keep an audience, which I believe is becoming more and more difficult. There are more and more live service games out there. There are more and more free-to-play games out there just gobbling up player time and player attention. Once those sort of entrenched games get a hold on people, they kind of become their home game. So a game like Splitgate or X-Defiant can come out and garner a lot of people and have a lot of players playing. A couple weeks later, month later, a lot of those players go back home. They go back to Warzone or Apex or Fortnite, which is perfectly fine. But what that means is you kind of have to become that new game for players. You have to become that game they're going to log into on a daily, weekly, or at very least a monthly basis. I believe that's becoming more and more challenging, especially when your game is essentially a first-person PvP game. If it's a first-person shooter PvP game, you're going to have a really hard time keeping people. Because number one, there's a lot of us that have just kind of moved on from the genre. Everybody else that's still sticking around kind of has a game they're probably already playing. They already kind of have that game that is their home game. And getting those folks to stop playing that home game, I think, is going to be a significant challenge. We're going to continue to monitor games like Highguard and Marathon and anybody else who wants to step up to the plate and try to be the next big live service game. So it's an ongoing conversation. And we're going to watch today and just kind of make our own predictions. I still think this game has virtually no staying power with the public. I think many people are watching purely out of morbid curiosity, not because they actually think the game has anything to offer them. the general consensus from everybody that went to the event is this is a unique game. There's nothing like it, and that it's pretty sweaty. Doesn't really sound like something that I think is going to take the world by storm, but we'll see. So if you're watching this later, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. If you're watching this right now, go through the ritual of hitting the like button. Thank you guys so much for already 53 likes. Get those started. And someone in chat says, Nate the Hate says stay to play for February. Gotta have it for the show tomorrow, please. I mean, that's there's not much I can do with that other than say that, hey, people are saying there's a state of play coming in February. I actually think that's been the pattern for a while now. I believe there was one in February last year. So we'll see. Call me crazy, but I'm excited to play Highguard. Here's the thing. Even if you're excited to play and you're like, well, it's free to play. Me and my buddies will check it out for a weekend or a couple of weeks or whatever. I still just really, really struggle to see a game that looks like this, that's positioning itself like this. I just really struggle to see it having that staying power. 2 months in, are you going to just be dying to jump back in and play another couple rounds or play another? I just don't know. I just don't see any. Here's what I think is going on. I think a lot of companies and investors and development studios and, folks that sort of were watching opportunities to make money back in 2020 and 2021 because of the pandemic, I think a lot of those investments and a lot of those ideas are making landfall now. And I just think they're late. I think they're very, very late to the party. Jeff is being stubborn about this one. He's ready to prove people wrong. Yeah, I saw Jeff's animated GIF from Jurassic Park where Hammond says, in 48 hours, I'll be accepting your apologies. I don't know if he intends to have that joke be layered, but have you watched the rest of the movie? Have you watched the rest of Jurassic Park? No one apologizes to Hammond. It's a disaster. And everybody, almost everybody dies. So to me, I saw humor beyond the GIF. I was like, Jeff, you might want to be careful here because that didn't go all that well for Hammond. Nobody apologized to him. At the end of the movie, Dr. Grant's like, I've decided not to endorse your park. And then they all barely get away. So listen, you guys know this. A lot of people are, have been pretty harsh on Keighley. I like Jeff Keighley. I do. I think he puts on a good event. I think a lot of the virtue signalers and a lot of the crybabies the last couple of years that have always tried to find some reason to act like he's some kind of a villain or something, and that he doesn't care about gaming, and he doesn't care about small studios. He doesn't care about the layoffs. It's like every year there was current thing activism going on, and because Keighley didn't walk out with a bumper sticker across his forehead about whatever the current thing activism was, people would give him a really hard time. So I like Jeff Keighley. I firmly believe he has misfired here. I firmly believe he has just completely misfired. I think he's extremely disconnected from the live service gamut and gauntlet that a game has to run if he thinks this game's got a shot. I just don't think that it does. I think friends of his made something that impressed him, and he just, I think, fell over heels for it and is going to end up on his face on this one. That's my prediction. Light Leap with the first one. You guys are starting the week with 50. You guys went a little crazy last night, but the first re-up's going to come from Light Leap. 10 months. Thank you so much. I'm sorry, no, 41 months. Thank you so much, Light Leap. That's a lot of months and a lot of support. Yeah, you don't have to like Jeff at all, but I'm in his corner. So I can kind of appreciate and respect the fact that he's putting his neck out there to be I think this game's going to be good. I think people are going to apologize to me. Listen, I respect the moxie. VIP from Cardoc Ren, thank you so much. That's 60 months. That's a lot of months. That's a new badge for you, it looks like. I've not seen that badge before. Gandalf says, what I don't understand about Highguard is why folks are missing the point that retention is the crux and the reason to re-engage versus short-term fun and determinate success. 10 Bomb comes in from Broken Earth. The first one of the day, putting YouTube soundly in the lead. What do you got to answer back, Twitch? He's like, Gandalf says, it can be fun, but not have the tropes needed to keep people coming back. This reminds me, I watched a video this morning of a guy. I reacted to some of his content before, JW or something. Oh, we're being YouTube featured. Nice. Thank you, Mandela, for letting me know that. Guys, make sure you're hitting the like button. We could really get some momentum if we're being YouTube featured right now. So hit that like button. Let's get this thing going. Let's get to 100 likes. And a VIP plus from Behemoth. Thanks, Lono, for the great content. Well, thank you for the ongoing support, Behemoth. You're the man. Let's go crazy this week. Let's have the biggest week we've had, man. Let's prove that January does not need to be a dark month. We are on a bit of a comeback, and I appreciate y'all being a part of it. So I watched this guy's video this morning, and he basically said, like, Marathon proved everybody wrong, or, like, I forget the way he phrased it. And, yeah, it was a whole video about because it, like, climbed the Steam charts that first day. Basically, everybody's wrong. This game's going to be huge. And I'm like, let's not get ahead of ourselves here, okay? I've said before, I keep it safe for work. There are times where I could wish I could quote the wolf from Pulp Fiction, where, like, the car looks better, and Sam Jackson and Vincent Vega, they're standing there looking into the car, and he's like, well, let's not start, let's not get ahead of ourselves here. And I really do think people need to remember that the true test of these games is not, can we spend a bunch of money and bring a bunch of creators out and have them all say nice things about our game? This is not the first time we have been here and seen this. Do we need to go back and watch the Marathon reel? All the homies that went and played Marathon had nothing but positive things to say. And what'd they do? Well, they had to delay it. It wasn't even remotely close to being ready. It was basically in an alpha state. So a game in an alpha state got a bunch of great press from creators. Now, I'm not saying those creators were dishonest. I'm not saying don't trust them. I'm saying it's a recipe for positivity. Hey, well, in January of all months, like, things aren't going great for people right now. Economy ain't great. Nobody's got a ton of money. January is usually a crappy month for creators. And they're like, hey, do you want a multi-day vacation that we're going to pay for? You can come out to warmer climate, stay in a hotel, have all your food paid for, and play a video game. And then we're going to put a camera in your face. What do you think they're going to say? Yeah, this game sucks. This game's boring. This game's going to die. No, they're not going to say that. So when they did it for Marathon, I think they were being honest. I think they went out. I think they had fun playing Marathon. These guys that played Highguard, I think they went out, they played Highguard, they had fun. I don't think the argument was ever, if you play this game, you're going to be in utter misery from the first moment that you set foot in the game. That was never the argument. No one was ever like, well, that game looks like it's going to make you wish that you weren't even a gamer. Like, that was never the argument. It's like, yeah, of course people are being positive. And if anybody was negative, do you think they'd put them in the highlight reel? No, of course not. Let's not forget that PvP events have selected people wanting to have fun. In the public, you've got the trolls, the cheats, and the lowlifes. For sure. Yo, what's good, Lightleap? Membership back. Hey, thanks for supporting on both places. Wired Rope says, remember the Battlefield 6 live stream? None of the people were saying this game is trash. And truth be told, a lot of people had fun with Battlefield for, a week or so. So you have to see this for what it is, okay? If anybody comes in here, if you're going to leave a comment later and you're like, I don't know why you're bashing the creators or saying they're dishonest. I have not yet bashed the creators. I don't think they're being dishonest. I think they are being honest, but I think it's a recipe that will always result in the same thing, generic positivity. It means nothing. We need to wait. You got to wait on these things and actually see what the results are. How much snow did we get? Backyard was about 6 inches. It's untouched. It's beautiful right now. So Matt went out, with a ruler, and it is about 6 inches. So thankfully we dodged the ice. So it seems that the electrical grid is going to be okay. we could be in for some trouble the next couple of days because we're barely going to get above single digits. That could be bad. That could lead to bad things. So we will see. What is this? Huh? Who are you? Get out of here. These scams are getting even more elaborate. Is the embargo over? No, I highly doubt it. I highly doubt the embargo's over. The embargo will drop sometime today. So what's going to happen is this event's going to come to a close, and there will be a ton of videos that hit, right? Plenty of these guys that are saying they weren't paid or whatever, yes, you were. You're going to have videos that are going to do very well, and they're going to make you money. So quit. Listen, I respect somebody who's going to pay for their own hotel stay and food. You don't got to do all that. You don't got to do all that. They gave you access to the game, and you signed a contract. Like, that's payment. Just because you turned down some nice dinners and a hotel stay and an airline ticket, homie, you might as well take that payment. You might as well. You got paid in access. Listen, I don't know who it was that said it, that was like, oh, I paid my own way. Listen, I got plenty of respect for that. But if you get access to the game early and you get to make content early, you were paid. That video, the revenue from that video was your payment. Even if you trash the game, even if you're like, yeah, it's no good, it's not going to last, blah, 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 here's all the rough edges. You don't get to posture like you weren't paid. You were paid. I'd have way more respect for somebody just being like, listen, yes, of course I was paid. They paid my way. They paid me with access. I'm going to do my best to give you the most honest content that I can. We all are in this situation. I got access in the past to events like Anthem and stuff. And I would come back and be totally honest. Yes, they paid my way. Yes, they gave me this access. Yes, they paid for my food, hotel stay, and everything else. But I still am going to do my absolute best to give you honest content. Everybody's in the same scenario. All creators are in the same scenario. You are all being paid. Everybody is being paid. Journalists are being paid with access and press briefings and review copies. YouTubers are being paid with hotel stay, airline tickets, access to games. There's no problem with that. There's nothing wrong with that. SkillUp refuses companies to pay their way to go to events. Listen, I like SkillUp and I like his content. I don't think he needs to do that. You're being paid, brother. You got access to the game, and you're going to make content that's going to make you potentially channel his size. That content's going to make you thousands of dollars. What difference does it make that you didn't have your hotel stay paid for at that point? It doesn't make a difference to me. It's like, you were paid. Who cares? There's nothing wrong with it is what I'm saying. That's my point. Why act like I don't think people should posture like it's a problem. Because here's what you do. Now you're creating this scenario where, well, what about the people who did get their hotel stay and their food paid for? Are they somehow in a different category? No. You're all getting paid. You're all equal. You're no different. That's my point. That's my point. If I would have gone to that Anthem event way back in the day, and if I'd have been sitting next to a guy who was like, yeah, I paid my own way to be here, I'd have been like, so the frick what? You're getting access to a game, and you're going to make content with it, and you're going to make money off that content. If anything, that holds more weight as payment because it adds credibility to you. You're getting included. You're getting stamp of approval. You're getting early access. You're getting hyper-relevant content. That matters way more than an airline ticket or hotel stay. I just think you should just own it. I think it's better to just own it. Nobody is wrong for taking sponsorships. Nobody's wrong for accepting flights. Nobody's wrong for accepting food. Nobody's in the wrong is what I'm saying. Okay? LMPD, Louisville Police Department on a generational run. They said, shout out to the guy in a rear-wheel drive Charger doing absolutely nothing except providing the city with comedic relief. Bro slid sideways for 200 feet like a figure skater who failed the audition. We're watching you on the traffic cams at the operations center dying. Yeah. Well, they told people to stay home. The only reason people lost power in my city is because some dum-dum was out and hit the pole. And it's like, unless it's an emergency, stay the frick home. You know? Zubair says, be brave. Don't release the video for a week after embargo. Oh, I don't know if you can preload or not. My point is, they're all doing the same thing and nobody's in the wrong. Do you see what I'm saying? Everybody's allowed to go to the event to be positive. I don't judge anybody for doing that. I don't judge anybody for getting a sponsorship or accepting hotel stay or airline tickets. I don't judge anybody for that. That's just a standard practice in the industry. You're not on some higher plane because you declined those things. Now, if according to your own conscience you're going to do it, sure. Don't be out here acting like you ain't like the rest of them. You getting access, you're making content, you got paid. You're just the same as the guy next to you. Joker Quinn with a gifted, thank you so much. Bumping the line to 64. No preload showcase. The game drops at noon. I mean, I'm not touching that game today. I'm gonna cover the event. I'm gonna hang out with you guys here in this waiting room. I'm not gonna try and go and sit in some server queue to play a game I have no interest in. I don't typically play games like this. So there's probably going to be a server queue. Would be my imagine. I would imagine that's just not good content. Servers calm down. We could check it out tomorrow. Highguard will be unique at the very least just because of those achievements. I haven't seen any other shooter use all these mechanics simultaneously, which might make for a unique experience. Yo, what's going on, Khaled? When is this started? It starts at like 1 p.m., right? Skill Up paid for his own way to get hands-on impressions for Marathon to get true independent coverage. Listen, I really, really like Skill Up, and I appreciate that that's what he does, but you still signed a contract, you still signed an NDA, you still agreed to an embargo, and you still got access to something that is payment. Like, you're not there as impartial press. You're there as somebody who was granted access to something that the public doesn't have access to that ends up making money for you. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. But we need to make sure we're not creating some different hierarchy here. It's access journalism. It's the same as access journalism. It's just that you're kind of reviewing the game instead of, getting access to do an interview or something. Yo, Henry with 19 months. Thank you so much. Let's bump the line to 65. Marathon's all AI garbage. Huh? I don't think I've seen any evidence of AI slop in the game they stole from the artists. Yeah, I mean, that's all been settled. That's what are you going to do? You going to hold a grudge permanently? We're all obviously going to check out the game and see what happens with it, but I don't think I've seen AI slop inside a Marathon. Can't believe there's no preload. Yeah, it's going to be a disaster. It's going to be trying to get in and trying to play today is just going to be a lost cause. Yo, Hating with 33 months and a member plus. Let me add you to the total. I'm not going to try it off stream, no. I have virtually no interest in this game. Now, I've seen interesting comments about this. I've had some people leave comments on the channel about my coverage of GTA 6. And I talk about how, I'm not all that interested in putting a ton of hours into GTA 6. I'm not really a huge fan of GTA 6. And they question why I cover it. I know this is hard for people to believe, especially if you're of lower intelligence. This is difficult. But gaming news outlets and gaming news channels cover pretty much anything of high relevancy because the public would like to know about it. And then we may or may not actually play those games. I may cover something of pretty high relevancy to you guys and then be like, yeah, but I'm not really going to play it. Like Forza or a fighting game. If we cover, if there's a big reveal event or something or some kind of a live event for Marvel Tokone Fighting Souls, I'm certainly going to cover it. We're certainly going to talk about the potential success of that game and, live service efforts from PlayStation and everything else because there's a business angle there. But that doesn't mean I'm going to necessarily be playing Marvel Tokone Fighting Souls for large amounts of hours. I know this is difficult for people to understand, but I think that's pretty normal. Go to any variety gaming channel, any variety gaming news channel, and they're not playing every single game. They're not. The games that they cover because there is a relevancy factor and the public would like to know what is going on. You would do it too for a check? Oh, I mean, if you're talking about going to the Highguard event, I would not have gone to this event if they invited me. No. Even back when I was getting invited to events like this a lot, I started turning them down because they weren't worth my time. It was far more, as a live streamer, like back in the day, I turned down the Lawbreakers one, and I forget the name of the two others. There were two other game events that I turned down because it was like time away from the stream wasn't worth it. It was like me coming back with footage of some other game. I was a Destiny creator, and I was live streaming every single day. So I turned down offers all of the time to go to these events because I had a guy jump on my tweet, and he's like, it sounds like you're jealous you didn't get an invite. And I'm like... I was like, no. I was streaming and being a more, I think, strategic businessman by being here and streaming. Like, if they would have invited me, I would have turned it down. I would not have gone to this event. I wouldn't have. Number one, I don't like going to LA. It's a dump. Number two, I don't like being away from my family. Number three, not streaming is really costly for me. It's not helpful to me to not stream, to come back with like a video. Now, sure, the video I could have come back with a video and it could have done okay, but like that's not really what I'm like known for. Like early access, early looks at games. No, I'd have turned it down. I started turning down the event invites to stuff like this because it would just basically be a loss for me. I would just lose money. It was like, oh, I'd go to the event, I'd have fun, I'd get food, I'd stay in a hotel, oh, this is awesome. I'd come back, I'd upload the videos, and they'd do nothing for me. Meanwhile, I took 2 or 3 days off from streaming and basically lost money while I did that. So, like, I don't have any interest in going to events like this anymore. I don't. I've actually had that conversation both with the people who kind of handle those things, people that are out there putting feelers out there for me, as well as my wife and my producer. And I'm just like, I don't have any interest in going to those events anymore. I don't. It's usually not a great environment. It's also usually an enormous amount of time to get all the way out there because they typically do these things in California, and I happen to live in Kentucky. So there is an entire day of travel to get there, an entire day of travel to get back. So there's 2 days where you're not even really doing anything. You're not like actually making content or recording footage or getting to do an interview or something. No, you're literally sitting in an airport or sitting on a plane just to get out there. There's a whole day basically wasted on that. So pre-recorded footage for YouTube wasn't part of your model. Oh no, because when I went to the Anthem event and came back, like I actually would have been better off just being here streaming. That was one of the last times I thought, yeah, I'm never doing this again. This was a bad idea. Like when I hosted E3 2019, that to me was worth it. Because that was like a career opportunity. It was a dream. You know, that was a different thing. That wasn't like going and recording something in secret and then coming back and like uploading it or whatever. You're right. This is why major gaming sites tend to have different people at times reviewing different games. Yeah, I'm one person, so like I can only play so many games and review so many games, and I might cover something like GTA 6, even though this year I'm far more interested in Soros than GTA 6. That doesn't mean I'm not going to cover GTA 6, right? It's just, it's just an effort to act like, oh, you're not a real gamer, which is hilarious in its own right. Like, since when do we judge people's ability to commentate on games by the number of games they've played? Colt Eastwood, like, what in the world was that about? I've been very cordial to him for the longest time, and all of a sudden he's like commenting on something saying, I don't care what his opinion is about Fable because he doesn't play enough games. Why don't you show us how many games you played last year, Colt? Why don't you show us how many games you completed last year? How about this year? I bet I've played more than you. I have. Colt Eastwood? Like, not playing these games anymore. I'm not going to say people's names. No, I'll say your name, and I'll say it with my chest. You want to act like you don't care about my opinion about Fable because I don't play enough games? Since when? Go look at my PlayStation wrap-up. I played like over 100 games last year. I rolled credits on like 25 games. We're doing the same thing with Marathon. We're doing the same thing with Highguard. We're acting like, well, we can't comment on the games. They're not out yet. What are you talking about? Yes, we can. Yes, we can. You can 100% look at reveals like Fable or trailers like Highguard. You 100% can look at these things and make assessments. He's a tool bag. Who cares what he says? I've been nothing but cordial to the man who made the Redfall montage. Like, because people come in here and try to dog on him. And I'm like, we don't do that here. You know, I've been more than cordial to him. He does a podcast with Mag, and I like Mag. I like Middle-Aged Gamer Guy. I don't know why you're jumping on hate tweets saying you don't care about my opinion because I don't play enough games. Why don't you act like a man? And like, because he said something on one of my tweets, is like, I'd be happy to have a conversation about this. But you want to push this false notion and this lie that like Reforged doesn't play games. He's a tourist. And it's like, I bet you I played more games than you did last year. I bet you I've played more games than you have this year. I bet I've covered the industry longer than you have. I bet I've interviewed more devs than you have. Did you sit main stage E3 2019 and interview developers? I did. You want to start pulling some gamer cred card on me, you might want to be careful because I actually have a very, very long history of covering games like this. And I played a ton of games. You just want to put forth this notion that, like, I'm not a legitimate commentator on games because you don't like what I'm saying. Because I'm saying there's red flags with Fable, you want to take a swing at me. Well, take a freaking swing then. Don't do this weird, like, swipe on somebody else's tweet about how, like, you don't want to hear my opinion, I don't play enough games. Why don't you show us how many games you played last year? How many games you rolled credits on last year? How long have you been covering the industry or, you know, whatever brand it is that you're covering? How many games is too many? That's not even really a question, though, too. Like, if you really want to act like that makes it to where somebody can't cover something, what are we even talking about? So, like, let's say I played 80 games last year and I completed 15. Okay? I played 111 games and on my PlayStation alone, and then I completed like 25 or something. That's like 2 games a month. Like, I'm rolling credits on 2 games a month. Did you do that? Did you play that many games? That's probably well above average. Well above average. But let's say this year I don't do that. Let's say this year I only complete like 20 games and I only play like 100. Does that at all hinder my ability to watch the Fable deep dive and look at all of the red flags? Is it hard for me to see performance issues? Is it hard for me to see janky gameplay? Apparently, I'm more qualified to point out janky gameplay and oddities within a game because I noticed it in Redfall and you made a Redfall montage. So really, who's in a better position to commentate on trailers and gameplay? Who? Who do you think's in a better position to do that? The person who made a montage, which basically acted as a commercial for the game, when many of us were trying to say Redfall didn't look so good, there was oddities in the gameplay, the NPCs and the AI looked kind of weird. Seems like maybe I'm in a better position to commentate on a game reveal than you are. Am I out here making montages for games before they're out to try to convince the public that they're good? But I don't play enough games according to some weird internet trend of like, we're just going to spew hate about somebody because we don't like what they say. This is fiery. I'm fed up with it. I'm so fed up with people who have platforms and reach deciding to go after me because I said something about your favorite brand. Listen, Fable, as an example, has been a highly anticipated game. And saying there's red flags in the trailer isn't even hate. It isn't even criticism. It's just like, I don't know, man. I don't feel like we've gotten a good look at this game just yet. Armed and Dangerous with 42 months. I could finally catch a live show. Thank you so much. No, this is not a troll. That's the thing. Ignoring trolls is easy. The trolls came in throughout the entire developer direct, and they've come in since, and we just banned them. I don't respond to them. They don't matter. But when somebody who is basically an Xbox ambassador has a sizable channel, and you want to take swipes at me because I don't play enough games, because I was slightly critical of the Fable deep dive? Homie, why are you making it about me? Why are you guys always making it about me? Why you Xbox content creators always want to make it about me? Why don't you make it about what I'm saying? Wired Rope with a 5 bomb over there on Twitch. Make it about what I'm saying. Is that too difficult? Is it too difficult to like have a conversation or a dialogue? React to my videos. Go ahead. Watch my whole video about the red flags in Fable and do your own reaction. Go ahead. But why are you making it about me? Oh, I don't care about his opinion. He doesn't play enough games. And then when you point this out, they'll be like, he's playing the victim. No. I'm calling you to be accountable for what you're saying. Make it about what I'm saying. Engage with what I said about Fable. Don't make it about me. Oh, he doesn't play enough games. The frick does that even mean? Yo, a 10 bomb comes in from Cardoc Ren over there on Twitch, taking us to 82. Like, it's the same thing happened during ABK. He was like, well, don't make it about what he's saying, because all the stuff I said about ABK ended up being true. All the stuff they said about ABK ended up being wrong. Let's not talk about that. Let's talk about when they said it was only going to be 4 games, and I told you guys that wasn't the case. Let's not talk about that. Let's talk about Reforged. Let's make it about him. It's just ad hominem. It's like you can't engage with what I'm saying. Do you want to know why they'll discredit instead of engage? It's a tried and true playbook because they know what I'm saying's right. If what I was saying was so insane and so out in left field, well, you'd watch it and you would just be like, yeah, this is ridiculous. None of these issues are in the Fable deep dive. They know I'm right. They know that we sat around for 6 years and finally got a deep dive where they barely showed us any extensive footage of the game, and the footage they did show us has performance issues in it. Thank you so much, Sir Pie Smasher. And a 10 bomb comes in from Hidden Siryu and gets us to 93. Thank you, sir. You don't have to like me. You don't have to engage with me. We don't ever have to be on a podcast together. But if you're going to interact with what I say, then do that instead of trying to make it about me. That's just admission that you can't engage with what I'm saying. It's cowardly. It's absolutely cowardly. I remember when you reviewed Gotham Knights and highlighted all the red flags. I learned the hard way. I wasted $70 on that crap. I agree with your Fable take. Thank you, Stefan. And a 10 bomb for Broken Earth pushes us over. Strong start to the week. Holy cow. YouTube and Twitch having a shootout right now. And this is completely relevant to my marathon coverage, to my Highguard coverage, and to my Fable coverage. If you don't like what I'm saying about marathon or Highguard or Fable, then you can come on my show, open invitation, and you can talk to me like a man. You want to take side swipes, you want to put me in your content, call me names and all that, that's just admission that you can't hang. I've been cordial to most of these guys. Very cordial. Never firing back, never shooting back. And I got plenty of grounds to do it. And always just been like, listen, I don't know why we all can't just have conversations. I don't know why we all can't just, like, do a podcast and disagree. You know, that's more entertaining, right? Like, the audience would really love that. They would love to see the knockdown drag debate about, like, knockdown drag out debate about, like, whether it's Fable or back when ABK was going on. We could have made some killer shows, but it says, like, well, now we got to make it about Reforge and call him names and try to to denounce him, and oh, he doesn't play enough video games, so I don't care what he has to say. Okay, well, with my seeming lack of ability to play enough video games to, you know, I don't know, earn your respect, I did a much better job warning people about Redfall than you did. I did a much better job warning people about Starfield than you did. I did a much better job warning people about more than 4 games coming to PlayStation than you did. I did a much better job warning people about ABK and the Activision deal than you did. So no matter how many games I played, I've been beating you up for years. I've been better at this than you for years. It's like, it isn't hard to look at a trailer and be like, there's performance issues. There's clearly something wrong. They're not showing us the games. So if you want to start doing that game where, like, you've not played enough games, well, somehow I've not played enough games and I'm doing a much better job at this than you are. All of these games and all these problems that have happened called from 1,000 yards away. Do you see what I'm saying? It's like, but instead of having a conversation about Fable and how it was showcased, instead of having a conversation about these things, it turns into, well, let's make it a personal attack. And it's like, all right, fine. I'm not going to return in kind. I'm not. Everything I just went through just now in my rant, that's not a personal attack. That's just merely pointing at the history and saying, listen. Listen to everything that I've tried to tell people about and tried to warn people about. Who's got a better track record, me or you? 2 single gifteds coming from Stone Spire coming in, and then a super chat from the OA. The Wolverine presentation had the same structure. Fast cuts, overlap talk from devs, not long gameplay. The difference is that Wolvie was on its first showing. First time we saw Fable has been the showcase for years. Right, if Wolverine, if they did a state of play... If they did a state of play for Wolverine and said they were going to do a deep dive into Wolvie, and they did the same thing, it was just a bunch of quick cuts, and we never got an extensive look, I would be concerned. Do you want to know why? It would be a break from pattern. That's not what Insomniac does. That's not what Insomniac... Broken Earth comes in with another 5-bomb and gets us to 110. That's not what they do. I'd be like, that's concerning. Now, I've expressed concerns about the combat in Wolverine. I'm like, I don't really know how you guys are going to keep that interesting past 15 hours. You know, he's punchy punch, slashy slash. Like, I don't know how, I don't know, after 10 or 15 hours, that might get a little old. But if they were to come out and do a state of play with Wolverine and do the same thing, I would utter the same concerns. I'd be like, we're not getting a lengthy look at the game. Saros had more gameplay on its first outing. Right. To be fair, though, Saros is a much smaller game than Fable. It's a much smaller game than Fable. I'm saying the same thing I've said for years. If you want to have a conversation, if you want to disagree with me, then let's do that. The little side swipes and the snide remarks, and you try to act like I'm not legitimate and like my opinions don't matter because of some arbitrary measurement. Well, rather than look at how many games I've played, look at how many predictions I've got. And you can take Justice League and you can parade that around. I got that one wrong. I made the mistake of believing the developers. I got that one wrong. Or not believing them. I trusted in them. I trusted in the developers. I thought, these guys are really confident in this. Did you hear concerns with Concord? The day they showed gameplay, I uttered concerns. I said, that is an enormous risk. It looks like a hero shooter that I've played before. It looks like a bunch of Destiny animations were ripped directly from the game. Literally, as soon as the Concord thing was over, I told people, I was like, I don't know, that looks like a massive risk. And then I played it, and I was like, this is going to bomb. This is DOA. I was in Ohio, and I was playing it with my nephews. And I came back from like a dinner or something, and my nephews were like, we were playing that game. It's pretty good. So I played a couple rounds with them. I'm like, nah, this is DOA. This is garbage. This is gonna go nowhere. Game's not released until 3 hours. Some loser's already farming views. Are you talking about me or is somebody streaming it? If you're talking about me, this is standard practice, homie. People wait for game reveals and things to come out. I find this interesting as well. Apparently, according to critics and people that aren't happy about some of the coverage, we're supposed to all watch a trailer and then, I guess, go invest in a muzzle, or maybe Hassan's selling shot collars and we can buy one of those. Apparently, we're not supposed to say anything. Thank you, Rope, for the bits. Why take a chance to leave a huge box and be proven wrong, rather make Twitter comments? Apparently, that's what we're supposed to do. We're all supposed to watch a trailer and then say nothing. We're not supposed to make predictions. We're not supposed to make assessments. We're not supposed to do any of that. We shouldn't. We should just wait and just play it. What do you mean? We don't do that with anything. Every time a trailer comes out, every time there's a gameplay reveal, that's what we do as gamers. We're like, does it look good? How's it look? How's the movement look? How do the guns look? Does it look like it's going to be fun? You know what I'm saying? We all do the same thing. But the minute we do it with a game that's apparently a preemptive sacred cow, well, that's a problem. We shouldn't do that. I'm playing Kill the Justice League now. Story's great. Banter's awesome. Gameplay isn't what I wanted, but it keeps me in the action. You gave it a chance for $4. I mean, it's worth one playthrough just for a knock-around game. My wife and I played it co-op, and we had a perfectly fine time with it. But as soon as you get to the end game, it's terrible. It's terrible. Are you hungry? What do you want for dinner? We can't talk about dinner until we eat it. That's what I'm saying. It's insane to me. It's insane to me. All of a sudden, whether it's... people are doing it with Highguard. That's like the consistent thing I keep saying. They're like, we don't know anything until we've played it. And I'm like, all right, let me ask you something. What do you think the purpose of a trailer, a reveal, a deep dive? What's the purpose? What do you think? What's the company trying to do? Are they being charitable? Are they being nice? No. They are trying to convince you to play their game. That's what they're doing. It's marketing. So it makes perfectly good sense for us to determine whether or not they have done that. Have they convinced you to play their game? Have they convinced you to pre-order and buy their game? No. Waiting room, more like idiots watching an idiot farming views. Man, listen. I know it's not fun to be whoever it is you are, but you can't hang out here anymore with your 1-month-old account. I'm so surprised that an account that's 1 month old wandered in here and is spewing negativity. Really stinks to see the channel doing well, doesn't it? I know. You guys always show up when we're having a good day. Resident Evil, Developer Direct, and today. It's not fun watching somebody have a good time because you don't have a good time. Jiminy Christmas. Marketing can be bad and the product can still be good. Okay. Come on. Come on. Let me ask you something. When's the last time you've seen a trailer for something like a game and it looks real bad and it came out and it was amazing? When? In the decade I've been doing this, brother, if if the gameplay looks bad, it's bad. I remember, what was I watching? I think, yeah, okay, it was Asmongold, and I don't agree with everything the man says, okay? Sometimes I watch a lot of content that I don't agree with. I watch guys like Asmongold. I watch guys that don't like or listen to Asmongold. I kind of try to listen to everybody, okay? And when he got to the subject of Highguard, he basically said, if you can't put together a good trailer, that makes your game look good, how can I trust you to make a good game? And I thought, man, that's a good line. That is a really good line. After all this time, think of all the games that you've really enjoyed, okay? When they showed you gameplay of that game, you didn't need somebody to tell you that, oh, that looks good. You could just kind of tell. It's like you can see gameplay of a game and you can really get a feel for how it is. You can watch, I mean, think about the entire industry that we're taking place in right now. Live streaming about games. Live streaming about games. The reason that works is because you can get a feel for a game watching somebody play it. You certainly can. You can watch somebody play something and you're like, yeah, that looks bad. That looks glitchy, buggy, non-responsive. It looks like it's very it looks like it's very rigid. It looks like the game's like, like you're fighting with the game instead of fighting with, the actual enemies. How does a trailer making correlate with game development? It's just a bad editor. No. Homie, I can do this on my PlayStation. I can be playing through a game, and when something cool happens, I can record it. So if you've made a game that's cool, that's good, that's fun, it's not hard to record that and then show that to the public. That's not difficult. It isn't. Why is that so difficult? I'm not talking about like editing. I'm guarding my high right now. Colin does have the right vibes. He's like, I'm guarding my high right now. Like, do you see what I'm you see what I'm saying? I only ever hear this when it's a game that hasn't had a good showing. People are like, well, but we don't know though, and the game's not out yet, and it's like, wait, what are you talking about? I've never watched a gameplay debut and been like, that game looked like trash, and then the game ended up being phenomenal. I've never experienced that in my life. If you can't package your gameplay in a way that looks even remotely winsome, I'm so confused. Is this a hate watch? I don't, is that what you're doing? Is that what you're doing? I don't understand. Like, we are waiting. Yeah, I need a countdown timer. You're right. Good call. Let me get the timer going. Highguard. I guess we'll call it showcase. What's today? The 26th set start show. There you go. Like, I don't understand. If you guys haven't hit the like button yet, hit the like button. We keep it spicy. We keep it passionate. As long as you guys aren't taking swipes at me or the chat, you can stay here and disagree with me all day long. All right? You can hang out here all day long and disagree with me. If you're going to come in and call me in the chat names, you got to go. That's not what we do here, okay? He hate watches all the time, especially for PvP. Okay. What's interesting is that it sounds like you're waiting to be proven right. Yeah. Would you not do that? So, like, let's say a big sports team's about to play another sports team, and you're like, I really think this sports team's going to win. You wouldn't watch to be proven right, even if you don't like them? Like, let's say your team gets knocked out of the running, and some team that you're not all that fond of is about to play, and you're like, I think they're going to win. You're not going to watch to see if you're right? Like, how do you consume content? You only consume content that you preemptively know you're going to like? Are you like a soothsayer? You're able to do that? You're like, I know I'm going to like this, so I'm going to watch this. We saw this trailer during the Game Awards, and I was like, that looks bad, yo. Like, we're going to have to check that out when it comes out. No, I'm waiting to play something new that doesn't cost me a penny. Okay. And so let's say that you're really interested in Highguard, okay? And let's say that I'm not really interested in Highguard. I think it's going to be bad. We just have a difference of opinion. Why would I watch or not watch according to that? Wouldn't that be allowing like bias to dictate coverage? Isn't that something people don't like? That's what's interesting to me is it's like, you're looking forward to it. I'm not looking forward to it. Let's all watch together and see what happens. Isn't that more interesting than coming in and trying to act like you shouldn't be doing this? What are you, finger wagging? Are you purity testing like streamers right now? You're like, well, you shouldn't be doing this because you're just hate watching. Listen, I don't know what that term means because I don't hate the game. I don't hate the developers. I'm just like, I think the thing's going to be bad. I don't think it's going to be a game that lasts. Do you want to know why that's an interesting discussion? Because it's an ongoing discussion within the industry. Can live service games launch and survive when the market's already saturated? A lot of what we're seeing is very derivative. That's a very big discussion that we've been having for a while now. But we're not supposed to do it when we think something's not going to go well. We should just not watch. We should all just look away. So like the rest of you, I guess, can preemptively be excited and not have your morning ruined? Do you not like the platform that makes the game? What platform are you talking about? You talking about the developers? Are you in the industry? Are you in my chat right now? What are we asking, like ethereal philosophical questions? Where are you right now? Are you in my chat? Are you in the industry? Thank you for the $5 super chat, the OA Wire Gaming News channel covering gaming news. Explain it to me. Wouldn't you rather, I'm just curious, since you're here and chatting and not somewhere else, it's always interesting. If this is just such bad coverage, I'm not really sure why you're here. But wouldn't you rather watch a show of someone who's like, hey, this thing's going to happen. I'm going to put my chips on the table and let you know what I think ahead of time. Would you rather I just sit here and be diplomatic and safe and neutered and sanitized and be like, it could be good, it could be bad, we won't know, so let's all just watch and hope for the best? You want Mr. Rogers' YouTube channel, then, I mean, see if anybody's streaming like that. That's not how I stream. I call him how I see him. I'm like, I think this game has virtually no staying power. It looks derivative. It looks bland. It looks like something I've seen before. It doesn't look like something that is going to capture and keep people for very long. Where is Lono? Who is Lono? Why is Lono? That's right. It's more interesting to have a passionate discussion. It's more interesting to say it with your chest. Be like, I'm excited. Great. I would love to talk to people that are excited about the game rather than have people that are sitting here like analyzing from like, I guess, some sort of a philosophical standpoint. Like, are you just hate watching? Why are you hate watching? Man, just come in here and join the conversation. Why are you talking about my content? Like, just engage. It's not that hard. You just come in and say, hey, I think it looks pretty good. Why? Why do you think it looks pretty good? What are you looking forward to the most? What have you heard that made you think that this could be a pretty good game? See, that's an interesting conversation because we're actually talking about Highguard at that point. Because I'll tell you what, from what I've heard, I think the issue is going to be that it's incredibly unique and that it's highly competitive. I think those two things are going to make it a hard sell for a lot of people because it's free to play. You come in and play a free to play game that's unique, new, somewhat unfamiliar, and it's highly competitive. I don't know if people are going to hang with that for very long because it's free to play. You can just walk away from it. You didn't buy it. You've got no skin in the game. Is Highguard a good proxy for other live service games? I think it's an interesting study in marketing a live service game because like Marvel Tokone Fighting Souls, right? That game's going to have a ton of marketing. It already has a ton of marketing. This game had none. Am I looking forward to Crimson Desert? As long as it runs well, yes. I'm worried about performance issues on console. The trailers and the gameplay up to now just gives me a whole lot of pause. It just seems like, I don't know. I feel like we're going to be looking at a Dragon's Dogma 2 kind of a situation where, like, everyone's so excited to jump in, crazy awesome. Not that they're the same type of game. Performance is what I'm talking about. Dragon's Dogma 2, people were very excited about, and then they had all sorts of performance issues. Crimson Desert, similarly. I think people are very excited, and I think it's going to have performance issues just based on what I've seen. There's nothing special about Marvel Rivals other than the fact that it is a Marvel game. I think that's a little reductionist. I think they built a very, very, like, competent, very well-built hero shooter. If it was a piece of garbage, it wouldn't have mattered. You know, you could have Sue Storm's, you know, thick thighs on screen all you want. If it didn't play very well, it wouldn't have mattered, right? You'd had a bunch of streamers playing it and just being like, this is junk. You know, it's... The Marvel element was jet fuel in the tank, certainly. If it was just a bunch of generic heroes, people would have been like, this just feels like an Overwatch clone, and they would have, you know, probably written it off pretty quickly. You can't just wave away being Marvel. No, that was jet fuel in the tank. But to be like, oh, but that's all it is, it's like, well, no, it seems like they built a very good hero shooter. I don't think you would capture and keep people just because it's Spider-Man. Like, does that make sense? They certainly got people in the door with Marvel. They kept people. For a while, the player base numbers looked very good. They kept people with a completely competent and well-built hero shooter. They lost a lot of people pretty quickly. Not surprising. That's the same pattern that live service games hold. You see what we're doing now? We're having a conversation that's relevant to Highguard instead of, like, acting like we shouldn't preemptively think anything about Highguard. So... every game is going to face that same struggle. If Marvel Rivals can come from way up here and come way down here player base numbers wise, then that's going to be a pretty consistent struggle for all live service games, even a game like Highguard. So no matter how many people jump in day one, you're going to lose people rapidly because that's just the nature of it. People will jump in and try it for the first week, and then many, many of the window shoppers will move on very quickly. Then you got to worry about the guys that are trying it out who are going to go home. They're going to go back to their home game, whether their home game is Warzone or Arc Raiders or Fortnite or Apex, whatever. So do you see it as a flop, as a 6v6 shooter, or if it's as we suspect with loot and mechs, does that change your opinion? I mean, if it's got loot, I don't know. Again, see, this is a dilemma. Number one, it doesn't look appealing from an art perspective. It looks hyper generic, and I think that really hurts games. We've seen this many, many times. We've seen this many, many times. I would say that... Oh, wait. I'm typing in the wrong place. I would say that... Wire rope. When you start blending a lot of different things, you can really end up with... What you can end up with is something that just doesn't really make sense. Like, it's not compelling. It's almost like it's doing too much. Like, I'll use Arc Raiders as an example. One of the reasons that... Well, I don't want to watch this guy's video if he just posted it, Rope. He's got 51 subscribers. That would be really unkind. Homie's got 50 subs. I don't want to take views away from him. No, I'm not doing that. I appreciate it, but I'm not doing that. I don't like watching something unless it's been on the platform for at least a day. Only time I'll ever jump on something immediately if it's like a big outlet like IGN or something. Like, we're not hurting them. They're not a creator. They're an outlet. Let me use Arc Raiders as an example, okay? I think Arc Raiders is being successful because you can play it like a PvE looter shooter, and a lot of people are doing that. The aggression-based matchmaking is allowing people to play Arc Raiders not like a PvP game, not like an extraction shooter. I think that's why it's doing so well. People are playing on their own terms. So basically, they built a looter shooter. They threw in a dash of PvP that creates this emergent dynamism within the game, and there's prox chat, and anybody at any time can betray you or what have you. The arcs are very well built. And so if you're playing PvP or if you're playing PvE, you're playing a game that just feels really, really good to play. Because again, you're playing on your own terms. You come to a game like Highguard, and you're like, oh, but there could be loot, and that, do you think that'll change the way it's not just going to be some 6v6 game? Okay. I can only go based off of what we've heard, and people at the preview event were like, it's highly competitive. It's sweaty. Okay. I don't know about you, but the people that I know that are compelled by loot, and they're going to want to do some looting and some shooting, do you want to know what they don't want to do? They don't want to get in some sweaty match, and have like a highly competitive environment. That ain't it. The people that loved grinding for loot in a game like, Destiny, very few of those people headed on over to the trials of Osiris. Why? That's sweaty. I don't want to do all that. I'm going to do a dungeon or a nightfall or a raid, okay? So I don't think that that's necessarily going to change anything. Based on everything we've seen and heard, and I'm here to tell you, okay, the PlayStation Leaks achievements confirm legendary gear drops from mobs. Yeah, but that could be a MOBA thing, homie. That could be a MOBA mechanic. That doesn't necessarily mean you've got a looter on your hands. So it's Apex Light with in-match loot. Right, and we all know how much people like that, right? There are people that don't like that at all. They're like, oh, I lost. Why? Well, they had better gear than me. I mean, I remember, it's always funny how this works. Like, I remember playing Apex, and I remember telling people in the earliest of days, I said, listen, I think the tiered armor is going to be a major complaint from people because there's nothing worse than getting to the end and losing a fight to somebody that is going to take longer to kill because they had better RNG than you. Not better aim, better RNG. They had better armor than you, right? Well, that became one of the major points of contention within the people who played early days of Apex. I remember being told that I didn't know what I was talking about, and then all the guys that were playing Apex at the time ended up agreeing with me. It's funny how this always goes, right? That you don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, I get that a lot. And then you wait long enough, and all of a sudden I did know what I was talking about. Time is typically on my side here. And I think there is going to be a very similar situation here. You are definitely going to see this element of, we're attempting to make a game that does all these different things. And I'm sitting here thinking, I don't know who's going to want to do that. I don't know who is going to want to hang with like a looter and deal with then loot systems within, but then they're also going to want to deal with sweat. And are the sweaties also going to want to deal with that as well? Like, do you see what I'm saying? Sven says, better question. What is it going to do? What is it going to take to change your mind? Like, what check boxes are you looking for? You're going to have something compelling to bring people back. I just feel like so many of these games, the content loop becomes a meat grinder and you lose people. That's what I'm saying. So it's not a flat 6v6. Does that change your opinion? Is clearly it's more advanced than just Concord, meaning there's a lot of info you don't know, but here we are hating. See, here's my problem with what you're doing. You keep classifying what I'm doing as hating. So making an assessment and making a prediction and saying, I don't think this game has legs. I think it's derivative. I think it looks generic. I think it looks like a game that's going to be very flash in the pan. It's not going to maintain an audience, okay? That's not hate. That isn't. Hate is slop, crap, trash, looks stupid, idiot devs. That's hate. Making an assessment and a judgment and a prediction, that's not hate at all. Like, mindless hate's everywhere on the internet. If you think that's what I'm doing, I don't feel like you watch a lot of hateful content. I feel like maybe I'm about the most harsh thing you watch if you think what I'm doing is hate. There are plenty of people out there that are being hateful about games and just flat out hating on stuff. I'm just saying, listen, this is what you brought to the markets to compel me that this is going to be the new breed of shooter, and I don't see it. I see derivative gameplay. I see an art direction and style that looks super generic and forgettable, and I see a game that's a day late and $1 short. I keep saying, if you go back to when this studio started and when a lot of these studios started their development, guess what they all have in common? They all started around 2020 and 2021. It's like they saw the pandemic numbers and the live service numbers. They convinced a bunch of venture capitalist angel investors or publishers or whoever, hey, we can make a bunch of money if we make a game like this. And now we're seeing the result. It's a bunch of corporate-driven, like, derivative games. They feel very corporate and they feel very calculated. Like, that's my assessment. These games feel corporate. They feel calculated. They don't feel like they were derived from, like, passion or ingenuity or new ideas or innovation. Are you willing to be wrong about this? What if it's a home run? If there's strong player base and interest in the first couple of days, that doesn't mean anything. What matters is, do they have a player base in a month? It's a live service game. With the new info, I get it as a 6v6 flop, but MOBA elements, loot, siege mechs, it's at least out there enough that it's not just copy-paste. Okay, let me engage with what you're saying, because at least you're being thoughtful. You know, people just driving by saying it's all hate or whatever. Listen. All right. Let's just take what you're saying. There's mechanics. There's a siege. There's loot. There's MOBA elements. Okay. The problem with that is the mechanism by which I engage with those things look incredibly derivative. You completely dodged the other question. What question did I dodge? I'm not dodging questions. Like, what do you think? I'm like a politician here or something? I'm just bantering with a fast-moving chat. If you're going to engage with the mechanics, and the mechanism by which you engage with those mechanics is like movement, shooting, and abilities that are very derivative. They feel very familiar to other games. I don't know if those mechanics necessarily matter. Do you get what I'm saying? That's my first response. My second response to what you're saying is, I believe you can put too many ingredients in the mix and then it doesn't taste good. I could make you a smoothie. A tried and true smoothie is a banana strawberry smoothie. Now, I start throwing in other ingredients because I don't want you to feel like I'm just giving you the cliche banana strawberry smoothie, and I start throwing in blueberries and kiwi and mango, right? You get so much in there and you're going to lose it. You're going to lose this potent, good-tasting smoothie, and you're going to be like, what is this? Well, I didn't want it to just be another, banana strawberry smoothie, so I throw in all these other things. I think games are the same way. I think you can put too much in where it's like it ends up not being, it doesn't taste very good. Like drink mixes, same thing. Like if you're making a cocktail, right? Listen, man, I'll take a bourbon neat every time. Don't even put ice in the son of a gun. I want to taste what they made. I don't want to taste all this other stuff. You start doing ice. You start doing an old fashioned. You start doing some fancy schmancy, girly drink, and I'm gonna be like, yeah, no, thank you. You get all that other stuff in there, and I can't taste the bourbon. I'm a Kentucky man, right? Give me the bourbon. I don't need all this other stuff. So that's a problem with game design. If you're like, well, it's got 6v6 PvP elements, it's got MOBA elements, it's got this siege engine, it's got this loot, it's got this tiered loot system within it, and people are going to be like, man, I don't want to do all that. Who's going to find that appealing? Do you get what I'm saying? Like, it can become too much. Like, the PvP boys are going to hate all those PvE elements. They're going to hate all those MOBA elements. I didn't say old-fashioned was girly. I was moving along a spectrum. Neat, ice, old-fashioned, girly drinks. There's a spectrum of drinks there, right? I'm over here. Just give it to me neat. I need a glass. I don't need anything else. Empreb with 41 months. I finally started playing Deadlock earlier this month. If Highguard doesn't have a unique take on the MOBA and hero shooter along with movement, I'm not sure it's going to do good. Let me get you on the total here, Empreb. I think I owe each platform one. I think I owe you guys each one. From what we know, you go out, you kill mobs. Hang on, you scrolled off my screen. You fight over the sword to trigger the siege mech, and then one team attacks another defends. Players can be killed and revived. No hard wipe after one death. Nothing there sounds like something that people are going to hang with. That sounds like something that's going to become rote, rehearsed, very, very quick. Everybody knows where to go and what to do. I'm here to tell you, I don't think that has staying power. It seems like on one hand you're saying it's derivative looking, but with the smoothie analogy, you're saying it needs to conform to classic genre tropes more. No. I'm not saying what it should do. I'm saying it's an incredibly hard genre to break into. If you're trying to break into the first-person shooter PvP game, it's incredibly difficult, okay? You can fall prey to the idea that we'll just throw a bunch of stuff in the game and that will make it unique and different. Right? Either you want an original new game or a classic title, one or the other. No, you're putting words in my mouth. I did not say that they should just stick to the basics and make a basic game. What I'm saying is in an effort to not do that, you can sometimes end up with too many ingredients and nobody even understands the game. Nobody wants to play the game because it's like, if you're a hardcore PvP guy, you're going to be like, there's all these PvE elements that I don't like. I just want to slay out. I just want to kill people. If you're like a PvE guy and you're motivated by loot, you might be like, it's not really loot. It's MOBA loot, and it's still very heavy on the PvP. I'm getting killed a lot. It's very sweaty. Do you get what I'm saying? It's really difficult to make a game like this and appeal to both of those types of players because they have very particular things that they like. Lono's biggest weakness is he's convinced he can make an argument and change these people's minds. I don't think I can change any people's minds. I enjoy the argument. Listen, I've been doing this a long time, Kevin. The secret is, I know most people aren't going to change their minds. That's why we're able to do this almost every day. He's saying the solution to a derivative product is not to randomly throw in other features. That won't help. Thank you, Zubair. That's also what I'm saying. When your gameplay, your abilities, your character movement feels derivative, it feels like something I've played before, you don't spice it up by being like, well, we've added all these extra mechanics. There's a siege, see, and a sword, see, and you're attacking, and you're defending, see, but then within that, there's a loot system, see, like, that's not necessarily going to solve the problem. The mechanism by which I engage with the game is still going to potentially feel very derivative. It's going to feel like a game I've played before because of how I'm moving and shooting, etc. Take, for example, imagine a game that looks like, smells like, plays like Fortnite. But they add on all these other mechanics when you're playing. It wouldn't matter because you'd be like, this just looks and kind of feels like Fortnite. But there's this thing where you attack the castle. When you get in the castle, you got to open the cell. When you open the cell, you got a prisoner, and then you got to escort the prisoner. See, there's all these other mechanics. You'd be like, I don't care. It looks and feels like Fortnite. You see? Like, that's what I'm saying. I don't think you necessarily compel people with a bunch of mechanics when the mechanism, the thing I'm going to be doing when I'm holding the sticks, is I'm going to be moving around and shooting in a way that feels an awful lot like a sweaty kind of Apex environment. That's what everybody's kind of saying. I mean, we can see it with our own eyes. It's not hard to look at the moving and the shooting to be like, that's going to feel an awful lot like Apex. Not surprising. It's from guys that, worked on Titanfall and Apex. Did you try Spellbreak? So, I'm not hating. We're obviously waiting and discussing to pass the time because it's fun. You're talking about Realm Royale. I am talking about Realm Royale. I wondered if anybody actually remembered that game. It looked an awful lot like Fortnite. Completely different. Had all these mechanics, and it didn't matter because people were like, yeah, it just looks like Fortnite. It just kind of feels like Fortnite. Doesn't matter that you can turn somebody into a chicken. It doesn't matter. So only one game ever per genre, everyone else is a flop? No. Yeah, that's a straw man. You're shadowboxing. I didn't say that. I said, go back to my original premise. I said, this market is saturated. It's competitive. It's going to be extremely hard to break into. That doesn't mean that you cannot do it. It means it's incredibly difficult. Very, very difficult to break into, okay? It takes lightning in a bottle moments, or it takes very, very thoughtful structure. There's a reason Arc Raiders is crushing it. It ain't the loot. It ain't the mechanics. It's all the stuff in the background that you don't see. It's the way that like a peaceful PvE looter player can play 100 hours and almost never engage in PvP. That's why that game's doing so well. It has structure to execute on spectrum. Spectrum of player. You've got the guy that wants to play peaceful and loot and grind and just get stuff. You got the guy that wants to slay out. You got the guy that wants to go aspirational and take down the big mechs, what have you. All of those people generally are able to engage in the game in their way and have a very, very good time. It's not the like, oh, but it's the gameplay. Do you honestly think like the shooting? You think like the target acquisition and the accuracy in Arc Raiders is why? That's what's funny to me. You look at Marathon and you look at Highguard, they look so tight and so crisp with the shooting. Arc Raiders is pretty rough around the edges in the shooting department. Ninja's talked about this. Plenty of people have talked about how this could never be a competitive PvP game because the guns and the accuracy, it's just not there, right? There's all kind of weirdness within the game. It's not designed to be that, right? That's not the shining star of Arc Raiders. It ain't. Hit reg and desync. That's not its shining star. That's what's so interesting. It's really rough around the edges. Like, I think it was Nick Merckx had like a clip go viral recently, and he was like, we have to admit that this game's just not super polished, is essentially what he was saying. I don't want to put words in his mouth. That's essentially what he was saying. He's like, you're right. It isn't. The shooting and the movement's kind of It doesn't matter, though, because they built an environment where people could kind of go in and play in a way where what emerges is like, oh, this is, I'm having fun in my own way. I don't see that in a game like Highguard. What I see is a match. It's a match with a beginning, middle, and an end. And I'm here to tell you, the minute something feels like that, whether it's Marathon or Highguard or, X-Defiant or Splitgate or any of these other games, I think the minute it feels like that, I think you lose people very, very quickly because they're like, yeah, I've kind of seen and heard enough. I've played 10 matches, 20 matches, whatever. It becomes a rote and rehearsed thing. Especially if it's super sweaty, like FCAT saying it looks super sweaty and tactical. If it's very sweaty and tactical, boy, you're going to drive people away even faster. That was something everybody said in that one video that we watched. They all said, it's sweaty. It's competitive. The one girl said, I pray for anybody playing this game. I'm like, well, that's going to be a tough sell. Especially in a free-to-play game. Marathon's an extraction shooter, though. So's Arc Raiders. How many people do you think are going to be able to play Marathon casually? How many people do you think are playing Arc Raiders casually? Splitgate's skill ceiling was high. Yeah. Somebody was saying that like Arc Raiders viewership has dropped. Do you think they care about viewership when just in the last 24 hours on one platform they had almost 500,000 people playing? Do you think that matters? Come on. Oh, the viewership's really dropped. Yeah? Could it have had something to do with a lot of streamers being out of town, maybe? That could have been why the viewership dropped. Maybe less people were streaming. I don't know. Just in the last 24 hours, these homies on... This is one platform. This is one platform. Look at that. That's such a healthy player. That is so healthy. I struggle to think of a game that's gone that many months with that level of just endurance and health. And I'm here to tell you, it's that aggression-based matchmaking. That's the secret sauce. That's the secret ingredient in that sauce in Arc Raiders, and I think people miss that. Just because you're not into being super sweaty doesn't mean doing it right is wrong, but does have a mountain to climb. Okay, so don't make it about me. My bias is not what's in question here, okay? What's in question is, can you get people to play this game over the long haul? Okay. Who do you think the game appeals to when it's really sweaty? Who? Sweaty players. It's an easy question. I'm not trying to be condescending. I'm just kind of walking through the argument, okay? So who do you think it appeals to? A sweaty game is going to appeal to sweaty players. Sweaty players tend to already have a game that they probably are playing, and they're sweating, and they're playing. They also tend to be the kind of players to wring a game out like a rag and throw it over their shoulder. The method of how they play a game, I think, expedites how quickly they put it down, because they're sweat, and I think sweats get bored. I've played with sweats. I've shoutcasted sweats. I've watched sweats play. They get bored. Because if there's no like pro scene, esports scene, it's like, well, what are we going to do today? Okay. They're going to sweat. Or they're going to move on to something else. I feel like sweats move very often. I also think they tend to go back home. They've got the game they like the most. They've got the game they've put in the most time with. They have sunk cost, somewhere. And so if you make a game that like appeals to sweats, I think, again, the challenge is going to be your player funnel is going to be narrow, and it's not going to last. These are the things that matter most in a live service game. I think that's what keeps getting lost in these discussions about Marathon and Highguard and everything else. The two things you need for a successful live service is you need a really full funnel at launch. I mean, tons of people better be playing your game. Why? Because a lot of people aren't going to continue playing. They're going to put it down. They're going to put it down. So you need that really full funnel, and then what you need is you need people to stay long term. Those are the two things you need. Yo, what's good, Kevin Cool? Good to see you in the chat. Helldivers is still doing great. Helldivers is able to reinvigorate their player base almost anytime they put new content out. They don't hang on to them that much, but like Helldivers made the money they needed like 10 times over. Helldivers' biggest problem right now is returning players or new players. It's just overwhelming. It's like, here's 85 war bonds, and you're like, oh my gosh, like I told y'all that would be a problem, and it's a problem. They're gonna have to figure out a way, to navigate that, I think. But if you do any of the things we've talked about this morning, I think it works against those two recipe elements. Big full funnel, ongoing engagement. If it's hyper sweaty, I think both of those things are diminished by a hyper sweaty game. They are. Less people will play, less people will stick around. Clearly players want something new and are willing to take PvP risk to get their kicks. Something interesting happened with Arc Raiders, where when the CEO affirmed and confirmed aggression-based matchmaking, the player numbers went up and have continued to be seemingly stronger than they were ahead of times. I don't know. I feel like once people knew they could play the game in their own way, they kind of came back. I don't know. I hear what you're saying. I think people wanted to take the risk of well, maybe see what everybody's talking about. Like even my neighbor was like, hey, what's going on with that Arc Raiders? Like everybody's heard about Arc Raiders. So it went viral, word of mouth. That all is very difficult to measure because it kind of all happened. And now if you try to look back and assess what really brought people into the game, they just did something with the vibe and the tone and the way the game looks and the way the game feels. It made a lot of people try it out. Here's the thing, though. Getting a lot of people to try out your game isn't the question. The question is, can you get them to come back? You can get a ton of people to try out your game. We've seen this happen with games like X Defiant, and then they can't maintain players, and so they have to shut down. Splitgate, same deal. Tons of people wanted to try out, wanted to check out, wanted to play Splitgate, and they couldn't keep players. Extraction shooters got a big boost to players, and they're a lot sweatier than most PvP games. I haven't researched that enough to know if that's even true. If like Tarkov and Hunt had a bunch of people start playing them because of Arc. Like, people have made that argument. They have said, well, Arc Raiders is really going to help Marathon because it put extraction shooters on the map. And I'm like, I mean, maybe. I don't know how much it's going to help when you got one game that can pull 500,000 concurrent players practically on one platform. I think that stands to be a bigger problem than a help. I don't think that's going to be this big help to Marathon. Mainly because that's become people's home game now. If you guys are pushing the subscribe button today, I want to say thank you for doing that. Let me just talk for a few seconds here about what we do here. You may have noticed it gets very passionate. I get very ranty and argumentative. This is what we do here. You'll notice I'm not cursing and swearing. I keep it safe for work. I run this podcast Monday through Friday about gaming news. We cover events, we cover games, we cover everything that goes on. Even if it's a game that I'm not going to spend a bunch of time in, if I feel like it's interesting, we cover it, we dissect it, we debate. So you are more than welcome to come here and do this every single day. So take a quick second and hit the like button. That helps me. That is totally free to hit the like button. Try to get us to 300 likes. Hit subscribe if you want to come back to other days. You don't have to subscribe to talk in my chat. We have switched that around. I want you subscribing because you want to come back to future content. I don't want you to subscribe just so you can talk for 5 minutes. So subscribe if you plan on coming back. We also do uploads. We also do memberships. That is how I do this full time. That's what this goal in the corner is about. If we hit the weekly goal, my wife joins me for an evening stream on the weekend, and she reacts to the week's gaming news. It's hilarious because she doesn't know anything about gaming news until I kind of tell her. It's a fun time. So consider supporting in all those various ways. Okay? Thank you. And thank you to the people that are coming in and disagreeing and debating respectfully. I appreciate that. The people that were coming in being nasty, like we walked them to the door, obviously. They're not welcome here. They hate that they're not welcome, but they're not welcome. Highguard is entering a console market where MOBAs aren't oversaturated. Okay. I watched you defend Destiny for a year straight, so maybe it's just strange seeing you on the other side of a game. Your assessment of my Destiny coverage is that I defended Destiny for a year straight? That's interesting. I have a very different memory of my Destiny coverage. One where I was very critical. One where I got blacklisted. One where I didn't get invited to events. So your memory of my Destiny coverage is very different than mine. It was half a decade of being very critical and optimistic that they could improve things, but Bungie didn't like me, brother. They helped take me down. So I don't know if I would say that I just defended Destiny all of the time. Is it a MOBA? Yo, it's good, Abe. It has MOBA mechanics in it is what we're hearing. I don't necessarily know if I would classify it as a MOBA. I also don't know if the console market is going to be receptive to a highly competitive MOBA-esque PvP shooter with heroes in it. Like, I don't know. Excuse me. I don't think I garnered viewership in the Destiny community by just defending the game all the time. Oh, wait, you're saying no to rage? Indeed, I am. I don't hide that. And if you have questions about everything that went down, I've always been happy to answer those questions. We don't make the content about that anymore, but I've stood my ground. I got my Twitch channel back, and I maintained that that was a complete and utter sham what happened to me. It's not a MOBA. I said it's got MOBA mechanics. That's what we're hearing. Critical, yes. Always fair and optimistic. This time seems strange. Hopefully you see enough. Okay, let me explain to you what's happened. I've watched. So for 5 years, I have been covering things that aren't Destiny. And for 5 years, I've watched a pattern emerge. I have watched games attempt to come to the market with a live service offering. There is a graveyard of failed battle royales. There is a graveyard of failed live service games. There's so many of them. So I'm trying not to be cynical, but I'm also maintaining a heavy amount of doubt. Those are two different things. Doubt is a lack of confidence. Cynicism is sort of like this entrenched negative outlook. I think I maintain a very healthy amount of doubt, and I haven't become like this cynical curmudgeon yet. If I become a cynical curmudgeon, I'll walk away, okay? I'm like, I'm just too grumpy. I can't do this anymore. So I think my doubt is fair. I think my doubt is totally fair. They've done nothing to earn my confidence. Nothing. They had a trailer that was not great. Art style, not great. Gameplay looks derivative and very familiar. There's a graveyard of canceled failed single player games. But the difference there is, let's take your example. Have you heard of a little developer called Team Kill Media? So they have a bunch of failed single player games. So they had their Quantum Error game, and then recently their game Code Violet came out. What do you think I told people about that game? Did I give it a fair shot? Did I say, well, single player games can be great? No, I said these guys have a pattern of crap games. I think the difference is in single player games, you sometimes have to either go off of the trailer or the history of the development studio. Like right now, does anybody doubt Insomniac's going to make a great game with Wolverine? Nobody doubts it because the pattern is they make great games. Until that pattern is broken, there's not a whole lot of reason to doubt. The difficulty with live service games is everybody's taking a shot. And like, we don't, like, the only thing we know right now is that these guys can make a good shooter because they come from the team that worked on Titanfall and Apex. That's all we know. Outside of that, I can only look at what they showed me, and they gave me no reason to be confident in their game. They had a trailer that wasn't great, and then they went dead radio silent. Here's what's interesting to me. In this conversation, everyone's so quick to hate. Everyone's so quick to be negative. You didn't give me a reason to be positive. So maybe the impetus is on you to do that. You're going to come to the market with a trailer. You're going to come to the market with marketing. It's your job to convince me. It's not my job to stay neutral until you do that. Does that make sense? I'm so tired of the high and mighty, self-righteous attitude that people have about this. They didn't wow any of us. They didn't. Just because you're allergic to negativity doesn't mean that the rest of us are going to be like, well, we'll all hold off judgment. I mean, the trailer was terrible, and they went radio silent and said nothing for weeks, but we'll all keep, a healthy amount of optimism. No, there was no grounds for any optimism. They didn't convince anybody. They did nothing with their marketing to earn trust. They did nothing with their marketing to earn your confidence or your optimism. Nothing. Some generic trailer and then radio silence. So no, I don't owe them a thing. I don't owe them optimism or neutrality. I don't owe them that at all. So hate? No one's hating. We're judging what they showed. We're judging what they showed. I did the same thing with Mind's Eye. Mind's Eye trailer comes out, and I'm like, look, y'all, something's not right here. Something isn't right. The gameplay looks really weird. It reminds me of the day before. I don't think this game is what they're trying to sell it as. Something's not right. Comes out, and it's trash. You can't judge a legit game when you don't know its systems? Sure. I didn't know the systems in Mind's Eye, you're right. So I couldn't judge it. I couldn't. Yeah, I didn't know the systems. We didn't know the systems. We didn't know how the day before worked. So we shouldn't have said anything before it came out. We just should have waited. We didn't know the systems. What the heck? We 100% can assess a game's potency or quality before before it comes out. It's Apex gunplay. No. You're not hearing what I'm saying. What I'm saying to you is, I can watch a trailer for Highguard and be critical of it even though I don't know the systems in the game. Just like I could watch a trailer for Mind's Eye and be critical of it even though I didn't understand the systems in the game. You think it's like Overwatch? I haven't said a whiff about the systems. I've quoted people that played it who said it's very sweaty, who said they've never played anything like it before, so it's unfamiliar and it's sweaty. And I think those two things are going to work against a full funnel of players as well as longevity. I don't think having good gunplay is all you need. There have been plenty of live service games with great gunplay. X-Defiant had great gunplay. Splitgate had great gunplay. Plenty of games have had great gunplay. That's not the only thing you need. You need a whole lot more than that. $5 super chat from Siriu. What's the point of a trailer if we can't judge anything by it? I'm going to keep coming back to that. What do you think the purpose of the trailer is? Unfamiliar and sweaty. That was my nickname in high school. If I'd had good gunplay? Yeah, I had plenty of people coming in here and saying that it was a very good game. They liked the gunplay. They thought it felt good. What do you mean? You can't say the game will fail. I have said many, many times, I think games like this, and this game in particular, will struggle to keep a player base. That's my prediction. That's not hate. I think that's a very fair prediction. I don't feel like they're bringing anything to the table that will last. I don't think so. I just don't. If that's hate... See, what's interesting to me, there's an awful lot of people coming out of the woodwork that seemingly are like ready to defend this thing already. Why? You're saying the game will fail on release then? No, you're having a hard time with comprehension. Might have something to do with the fact that your account's not very old, so you're somebody in here on an alt. And you're also misreading my comparisons. It's a common tactic by the people that don't like me. You completely and intentionally misunderstood my comparisons. I already explained my comparisons. I did not say or compare it to the day before. I was saying you can assess a game's quality as well as make judgments on it based off of its trailer. I don't need to know the game's systems to do that. So I referenced Mind's Eye. Your account's not old? No, it's not even a year old. This ain't my first rodeo, dude. You guys come in and you do the same thing. You intentionally misunderstand my comparisons. When I qualify my comparison, you bring it up minutes later and again continue to misunderstand my comparison. I was not saying this is like Mind's Eye. I was saying you can watch a trailer and make judgments without understanding the mechanics. And so I cited trailers that we did that with. We looked at trailers and we said, this looks bad, this looks rough, this looks awkward. I didn't need to know the systems in order to do that. The day before had good systems for what was shown, but didn't hold up. You think that the day before had good systems for what was shown? They didn't show systems. Didn't uphold to what they shown. You compared it to Mind's Eye? I did not compare it to Mind's Eye. You're continuing to misunderstand the comparison. Even after I've re-explained the comparison to you, you're persisting in misunderstanding the comparison. It's either willful ignorance or you're just in here to cause trouble. I've made it very clear I'm not comparing it to Mind's Eye. Your insistence on misunderstanding that is either your own lack of comprehension or you're here just to cause trouble. You're just trying to flat tire the discussion. Like, it's not the same as Mind's Eye. I was justifying the ability to judge a trailer. You don't need to know a game's systems to judge it by a trailer or to make a judgment call about it. You legit said the day before trailer was bad? Yes, and I agree that wait, no, I don't agree. That trailer was bad, and this trailer, I think, was bad for its own reasons. Do you understand? Like, I can assess the trailer of Highguard and say, I think there are elements to this trailer that are bad. Bad art direction, derivative gameplay, movement, and abilities. Hero shooters at a time where people don't really want to play hero shooters. a game that feels all too familiar. The characters don't even look that interesting. I can judge all those things without understanding the mechanics, okay? Now I'm going to do something. Be careful. I don't want blood to squirt out your nose. This might be too difficult for you. In the same way that I could watch the Mind's Eye trailer and assess gameplay, movement, chopped up gameplay sequences and like 5-second clips and say something's wrong here and I didn't know all of the systems. In both situations, I'm assessing the game based off what they showed me, which is the entire purpose of the trailer to begin with, and I did not have to understand the systems within it. You understand? Can you catch what you're doing there? Like, you can do this with any game, brother. You can take any trailer and you can say, I'm looking at the gameplay, I'm looking at the graphics, I'm looking at the things that they're doing with the movement and the world and the systems, and I can make an assessment without knowing all of the systems within the game. You're allowed to do that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. That's what the trailer is there for. It's like, this is what drives me crazy about this. The trailer is literally designed to convince you to be interested. If I feel the trailer fails to do that, or that there's something suspicious about it, we were suspicious of the day before in Mind's Eye. I'm not suspicious of Highguard, but what I'm saying is, the trailer is failing to do the thing that it set out to do. Thank you, Rain Waters, for renewing your Prime. 12 months over there on Purple. Day before trailer was good. Most wishlisted game. It was a scam. So your argument's dumb AF. My argument would be dumb if I wasn't one of the first people to say that the trailers were fake and that the gameplay wasn't real and that the game was illegitimate. You want to pull my card on this, you go right ahead. I wasn't fooled by those trailers. If you were fooled by those trailers, then by all means, let the world know that you didn't have the ability to see what a lot of us saw. Are you familiar with my coverage before today? Homie, I got so much hate for saying that the day before was a scam before it came out. I got hate for saying it was a fake game before it came out. So no, I did the same thing back then that I'm doing now. I did the same thing. I hate to admit it, but Lono is really good at sniffing BS from a trailer. So what doesn't matter? That legit doesn't matter? Oh. So you tried to make a point. When I counter the point, falsify it, it doesn't matter. That's convenient. That's very convenient. Well, the trailer for day before looked good. Yeah, and I wasn't fooled by it. That's to my point. Like, that's literally to my point. You're just saying you have credibility? I would say, within the realm of assessing a trailer, yes, I'm pretty good at it. I'm pretty good at it. I've not once said that Highguard will be crap. I have said that Highguard will struggle to maintain a player base. Those are different things. You consistently have misunderstood my points and have repackaged them. It's a common tactic utilized by people who are attempting to disrupt the conversation. You're not arguing in good faith as you've continued to perpetuate intentional misunderstandings of my position. It's intentional. Name another game then? What do you mean name another game then? Name another game that what? Like when I told people that Concord was DOA? What about when I said that Splitgate wouldn't be able to hold players? What about when I said that X Defiant wouldn't be able to hold players? Do another comparison? But you've dissed 24/7? Where have I dissed Highguard 24/7? I've got one video on the channel about it. I thought you weren't familiar with my content. Now you're saying I've dissed it 24/7. Huh. You don't seem like you're honest. You're repackaging your points? No, I've said the same thing since the beginning about Highguard. I said it looks derivative, it looks generic, And it doesn't look like it'll maintain a player base at all. It's basically being rejected by the public. How can you have a player base when the public rejects your game? I've not once said that it looks like trash. Like, not once. I don't really talk like that. I don't talk like, yeah, it looks like trash. Prediction on Marathon? I also think Marathon's going to struggle to maintain a player base. I think it'll initially have decent success commercially because it's Bungie. And I think that they will push very hard with marketing. They'll have a lot of people doing sponsored streams. I also think a month or 2 months in, it's not going to have much of a player base to speak of. I don't really have a prediction on Battlefield because Battlefield completely fumbled the ball. Battlefield overtakes Call of Duty in sales and then completely fumbles with quality and response to like community feedback. I don't know what they're doing. I'm not in tune enough with Battlefield to make much of a prediction about Battlefield, but they certainly fumbled the ball. Hang on, somebody did something on Twitch. Storm Mage, let me add you to the total. There it is, 113. Thank you very much. You said it was unfamiliar and sweaty. That's why it won't hold players. No, I've already predicted before it wouldn't hold players because it looked generic and derivative and it looked like a game that the public was generally rejecting. Now you're hopping to a completely different thing. When they said, the people who played it, when they said that it was sweaty and somewhat unfamiliar, even Myth was like, it took us kind of a while to get the gist of the game. I think that will also hurt its ability to keep players. Yes, I think that's me putting meat on the bones. It's like, from 30,000 feet, looking at the trailer, I was like, I don't think this game's going to have longevity. People that went and played it said it's really sweaty. And I'm like, yeah, that's going to make it really hard to maintain players. I do. I think it makes it hard to maintain players. I think the sweatier your game, the harder it is to have a broad player pool. It's extremely difficult to have a broad player pool when your game is sweaty. Guys, I don't think Perfect Eggs is trolling. The other guy could be. Players said it was like Apex and we're excited. Equally will work against it. Because fans of Apex will just go back to Apex if they'd rather play Apex. Like if you're too similar to something else, people will go back home. 100% a casual fan base will be small. And I think that is the detriment of all live service games, is to ignore the casual. I think if you want to have a very successful live service game, you have to have something there for casuals. Whether it is, like my kiddos are playing Fortnite, okay? They would not be able to play Fortnite if it wasn't for skill-based matchmaking. They wouldn't be able to. They're 10 and 12, okay? They're 10 and 12, but they're playing Fortnite and having a good time. They're very casual. They are. Okay, so if you want to have a broad funnel and you want to try to crack into a market where it's extremely saturated within live service, you're going to have a way for people to play who aren't wanting to sweat every single day. I think sweaty games drive people away very, very quickly. You know what it also does? And I said this earlier. I think sweaty games drive the hardcore players away as well. I think they just get old. I'm sorry, they get bored, I mean. It gets old to them. I think sweaty players are the quickest to move on to something else. I think they wring games out like a rag. That's how they play. It's kind of part of their, like, the psychology of the sweaty player. I do. I think they move on very quickly. Look at how people were playing sweaty Arc Raiders, and then eventually, now the cheating is part of the equation there, so it's a little unfair, but I think the sweaty PvP guys are like, yeah, I'm out. Look at CSGO. The difficulty with CSGO is this Leviathan-esque, entrenched, long-standing franchise, and many people booting up CSGO are doing the thing with the knives and stuff. Like, and again, I don't think CSGO proves you can crack into the market right now with a sweaty PvP game. Ashmade is making a great point. This is so well stated. Free-to-play lives or dies from popularity. Yes, it's free to play. It's a double-edged blade. Anybody can try your game. And if it's sweaty, you're just going to drive tons of people away. Tons of people away. Respawn gameplay is king. This is old Respawn. Listen. There is absolutely truth to that gameplay can really win people over. But these were people that left. Do we know their pedigree? I don't know. I don't know their pedigree. I don't know what they did for Titanfall 2. I don't know what they did with Apex. I don't know. I didn't research their pedigree. So let's just say you're correct. I just don't know if that's going to be enough. I've watched this for 5 years now. I have watched this for 5 years. I have watched games try to come to the market and capture and keep people. And when I look at Splitgate and X-Defiant and Concord and even before that, all those Battle Royale games that came and went, man, oh man, I don't know. You have got to have something special, and you've got to have broad appeal. I'm not seeing it here. I'm just not. Why repeat the same thing? I don't know. I don't know who you are. You followed today and your account's 2 months old, meaning you're not trustworthy. Nobody's finding me on Twitch with a brand new account unless you mean trouble. We have what? How many viewers do we have on Twitch? 82? You scrolled an awful long way to find me. What's amazing to me is with the TikTok attention spans, trailers are so much more important. I think Marathon and Highguard missed the mark. Didn't rope me in the first 10 seconds. Sorry for sounding like I was defending out or fanning over Respawn, but I just trust these devs a lot. Alright, here's the thing. Trusting a dev is legitimate, I think, because I do that with devs. Like, for example, Saros is coming out from Housemarque, and I thought they did an amazing job with Returnal. They've earned my trust. So I'm like, I think Saros is probably going to be very good. I have high confidence in it, okay? Later this year, Wolverine. Insomniac's earned my trust. With Spider-Man 1, Miles, Spider-Man 2, Ratchet & Clank, Rift Apart. I'm like, these guys do killer work, okay? So I get that. I totally get that. But I don't feel like that's what this is. That's not what this feels like to me. My assessment of this situation is that in 2021, people smelled money and they made calculated, very corporate-driven decisions, and that's where a lot of these games are coming from. It's why they feel soulless when you look at the trailer, the art direction, the movement. It looks very calculated. It doesn't speak to me in the way that, like, the first time I saw an Expedition 33 trailer, I looked at chat and I said, that game has Game of the Year potential. And they're like, how could you say that after a trailer? And I'm like, you can just feel it. You could sense that there was something about the game. There was something special and unique and passion-driven about it. There is something about these games, man. Concord, same deal. Concord was such a corporate, calculated choice. It was so calculated. It was just like, what the heck? All you got to do is look at how much money Concord was able to get in funding and investment, and you know it was 100% like a corporate-driven thing. They were 100% just going to, venture capitalists and people that were going to attempt to make a bunch of money in the gaming world. And that's what you got. It was just opportunism. It was just opportunism. I was like, well, we can make a bunch of money doing this. I think the same thing happened with a lot of games. I think the same thing happened with probably I think internally that's what happened with Naughty Dog and Factions. I think they're doing the same thing Evolve did. They really relied on content creators holding the game up. It sank fast. You can hype up a turd all you want. People will be there day one, but at the end of the day, it'll still be a turd. I continue to think that it's interesting how quick and how strongly people are jumping in to defend this thing. I think that's the more interesting aspect of this. Evolve was Lawbreakers. A lot of you guys might remember this story. I was invited to the Lawbreakers capture event They were going to fly me out. They were going to wine and dine me. And I was excited. I liked going to events like that. I like to kind of be in the scene and, you know, hang out with folks and have drinks. And I played 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes of the tutorial of Lawbreakers. I took a break and I sent an email and I canceled the trip. I was like, yeah, I can't make it. I can't come. Because I knew. I was like, I after 10 minutes, I was like, this is trash. This game's going to go nowhere. This is garbage. I'm not going all the way to LA to be a part of this. I don't want a camera shoved in my face, and I got to be like generically positive about it. So I literally canceled the trip. I didn't go. You know. Smokey the Mule says, I think people are defending it because it didn't get a chance to be bad, if that makes sense. Okay, I hear what you're saying, but here's the reality. And this is where the game companies and the commentators really confuse me. Do we want to live in the world we live in now, or do we want to pretend we live somewhere else? Right? I just prefer to live life on life's terms. This is the world we live in. This is it. It sucks, but it's the world we live in. And I got news for you. When you walk out with a trailer and your trailer looks like the Highguard trailer, or you walk out with a showcase like Bungie did last year with Marathon, and you do a showcase of an MVP, a minimum viable product, an alpha. They showcased a dadgum alpha. You better expect there to be repercussions. You can sit here and cry and be like, that's not fair, and people are being mean. Do you honestly think if every content creator in the world was like, let's all be positive, guys. Let's all be positive. Nobody be mean about Highguard. If we all agreed, do you want to know what would have happened? The trailer still would have bombed. It still would have gotten downvoted. The public still would have rejected it. It would have happened anyway. It's not like we controlled the narrative. The public looked at it and said, what the heck is this? That's the reality that we live in. First impressions matter. It doesn't matter. You can go into every YouTube chat today and you can scream and cry like this guy's doing right now. Oh my God, shut up. The game isn't even out yet. Do you have any playtime? Do you? Like, it's remarkable to me. It's like the job of the trailer, the job of the team making the game is to bring it to the market and convince people it's worth playing. They have failed to do that. It doesn't matter how positive you are. I could sit here and be hyper neutral and super diplomatic and be like, guys, let's just wait. Let's just see. Let's reserve judgment. It wouldn't matter. The public in large respect has already looked at this thing and said, I don't want to play that. Mechanics won't change any of that. I don't think depth of play or like, oh, we've got loot. I don't think any of that's going to change the way people view this game. I think in large respect, when you bomb that first impression, it's incredibly hard to recover. Incredibly hard. Particularly for a live service game. At least it was real gameplay. Sure. I think live service games face a much more particular challenge. And I think they face a greater challenge of first impressions than anybody else. Number one, they face it because you absolutely need people to jump in day one. And number two, you need to keep coming back. So you've got to win goodwill and trust and excitement. You've got to win that more than anybody else. More than anybody else. Because, like, okay, let's take a trailer for something like Phantom Blade Zero. they can put together a little slice of combat and make the game look incredible and get people excited. I think it's a little bit easier for them because it's like, oh, I like games like that. You know, people are getting a little bit of the samurai sword fatigue. The last couple times a trailer like that has shown up, people are like, here we go again, another samurai game. By and large, though, I think it's easier for them to put together a trailer, highlight reel, what have you, than a live service game. Why? Well, because the average person watches a trailer for that and they're like, yeah, I'll play Phantom Blade Zero for, 20 hours or so. What is Phantom Blade Zero? What are you smoking? It's interesting that you know how to spell it that way. That's like quite literally how they spell it, Phantom Blade and then the number 0. But you're not familiar with it? He's 100% correct, says Colin Bison, regarding first impressions in marketing. You have to capture the attention of the audience without question. Any doubt, or hesitation kills the game. It doesn't matter about hands-on gameplay. If no one is excited, the game is dead, especially with the attention span of the average gamer within the genre. Here's what I think they should have done, Bison. Here's what I think they should have done. I don't think they should have had a trailer. I think they should have had an announcement. I think they should have been like, what is Highguard? And then had like a website that was like dropping hints and dropping clues and maybe like little character things, right? And then do this thing with the streamers and then do this event. I think when they showed the trailer, I think that was a huge miscalculation, because then let's just go back and assess it. So they thought that trailer was going to make everybody go, oh my gosh, I've got to play that. I think that shows an enormous disconnect. I feel like they're massively disconnected from the gaming public if they thought that. If they had pulled me in NDA and shown me that trailer and been like, what do you think? I've been like, the public's going to murder you. This looks awful. Like, this looks terrible. You guys privately thought that this was a banger. That causes me severe doubt in their abilities to assess what people want and what people want to play. They thought the trailer was a banger, y'all. It ended the Game Awards. That doesn't give you pause at all? You're like, yeah, but we haven't played it yet. All right, listen. Jace G9180, you got to stop, man. You're pacing the same thing in chat every 4 lines in all caps. Chill, daddy. I'm interested to know if the game genuinely impresses with you. Will you admit you were wrong this morning, aka right now? To quote the poet Omar, it's all part of the game. Brother, if a content creator is wrong, the best thing they can do is say, I was wrong. He's still spamming. Yeah, I asked him to stop and he's going further. So take a walk. It's not hard. I can ask a 4-year-old to stop shouting and they tend to do it. Sometimes they don't. They're a little cranky. So you lack that self-control. You can't chat here. Kyle, thanks so much for 44 months on a VIP. Let me add you to the total. The game will peak crazy today because people are morbidly curious and will drop off fast. I tell you what, if the game doesn't make it and the game doesn't have a player base, are y'all going to come back and tell me you were wrong? Are you? You going to come back and tell me you were wrong? I bet you don't. Zubair with 59 months in the VIP Plus. Go to my channel right now. Search for the word wrong. When I'm wrong, I make videos about it. I was wrong about Kill the Justice League, and I owned it. I own it to this day. I've never tried to move goalposts and act like I wasn't wrong. Not once. I've always been like, my wife and I had a good time with it. I got to the end game, and I'm like, this is terrible. And I made a video, and I was like, I was wrong. I do that regularly. If I get something wrong, I own it. There's no reason not to. Why would you? Why would you be like, no, I wasn't wrong? Kill the Justice League was great. Like, who in their right mind would dig their heels on that? Like, who? Why would you do that? Get a life? I got a great life, and you're part of it right now. I got a great life. What do you mean? Lona has no problem being wrong. That's right. That's right. That's why I put myself out there with both barrels loaded. I'm like, you know, I think this game looks great, or I think this game looks bad. Why? Because I have no problem coming back and be like, got that one wrong, y'all. I'm sorry. I get way more right than I get wrong, which is another reason why I can confidently do it. I'm like, yeah, I've got a pretty good track record here. I can get some wrong here and there. It's all right. This guy says, you're a bum loser. Stop talking about yourself. You only care about yourself. Oh no. Real talk. What did you replace D2 with? I'm done with the game, but yet to find a replacement. Oh, what I replaced Destiny with is single player games. Yeah. I don't really like live service games anymore. Yeah. I've just lost my flavor for them. Yeah. I just play single player games for the most part now. Now, I played like 80 hours of Helldivers and like 36 hours of Arc Raiders, but once I kind of get my fill of a game like that, I'm like, I just kind of put it down. Temptation, wonderful name. Temptation with 3 months and a Prime. Keep up the great work. Loving you putting these people in their place. Thank you so much. Let me add it to the total. 116. Do you predict Highguard or Marathon will maintain the higher player count? I think Marathon will perform better, at least initially, and probably for a little bit longer, just because of Bungie's pedigree and how long they've been out. I think they'll probably have decent marketing muscle they can flex because they have PlayStation at their side. Like, PlayStation's done a lot of tweeting for them and stuff like that. I also think PlayStation can put them front and center on the platform and garner a lot of pre-orders, which will have, the player base looking decent, at least initially. I just think Highguard is just going to burn out so fast. I think it's not even going to be like Icarus. It's not going to fly too close to the sun. It's just going to be like that rocket that doesn't get high enough and just kind of falls. Iron Hand with 38 months. I still love live service games, but not the majority of the live service games that exist now. I'm open to something to eat up my time. Here's the thing. I think the reason, I'm going to add you to the total. I think the reason that I can play something like Helldivers or Arc Raiders, get my fill and put it down, is because I'm not looking for that game anymore. I'm not looking for a game to be the game I play all of the time. What is my favorite game of all time? I usually say Hellblade 1. I think it's a masterpiece. The sequel was a huge letdown, but I think Hellblade 1 is an absolute masterpiece for multiple reasons. Artistry and storytelling, tech used to simulate psychosis. Yeah. There's just a lot that I think they nailed. That's like my all-time favorite game. Why is a 6-month live service that made millions less successful than God of War, which people played for 2 weeks? Well, I feel like you're comparing different things. That's like trying to compare the success of a TV show. Like, that's like trying to act like that would be like comparing the commercial success of a big movie to Fallout on Amazon. It's like it's really hard to compare them. The commercial success of a single player game is measured very differently than the longevity and maintained attention of a live service game. They're not the same. Why can't this Ferrari carry my groceries? Right, you're basically arguing the difference between like a minivan and a Ferrari. It's like they have very different purposes. The commercial success of a God of War is not measured in the same way that you would be like, was Splitgate 2 a success? Like, they're not measured the same way. You could look at any live service game and be like, like, let's take, for example, like X Defiant, and you could look at, people kept talking about the numbers and the player numbers and the interest and the positivity, but it just runs out of gas. It's why, like a plane or a car, right? Like comparing a plane or a car, it's like, well, the car can't get you there as fast as a plane. And it's like, what? Like, what? Yeah, obviously. So I don't think they're measured the same way. And this is the real challenge for a live service game that I think people keep missing. And they keep saying, like, what I'm doing is I'm hating. It's like, hating? I'm being critical. I'm being skeptical. I'm expressing doubt that, like, this game's gonna make it. This guy's saying Remedy only ever communicated that the release window for Control Resonant is 2026. Anything else is speculation. Yeah, people were speculating second quarter, weren't they? Let me say this. I think there is a greater cause for doubt and skepticism, even criticism. I think there's greater cause for that than this sort of apprehension or optimism or, people that are being critical of what I'm doing today. It's like, I have far more reason to be skeptical and critical of what they showed than you have reason to be like, well, I'm going to wait and see. There's reasons behind what I'm saying and what I'm thinking. I don't think there's a whole lot of reason behind, like, well, let's just wait and see. It's like, why? I'm not telling you to not play it. I'm not telling you not to check it out. I'm saying, I think there's way less reason to be optimistic. I think there's far more reason to be skeptical, even critical, or doubtful. I think there's plenty of reasons to be like, yeah, I just don't know. Let's say you weren't even a gamer, and you were just kind of looking at things from the outside. Right? You're looking at things from the outside. You'd probably say, man, the public doesn't really think much about that game. And live service games don't do too well over there in that market. Like, you would just do basic observation and pattern recognition, and you'd be like, yeah, that game doesn't look like it's got a shot. Have you ever been wrong about an Xbox game? Just curious. I was wrong about Hellblade 2 because I was defending it early on. Yeah. People were breaking down the combat, and they were pointing out problems, and they thought it looked kind of clunky. And I was defending it and saying those are just impact frame pauses, because when you hit an enemy, sometimes the game does like a frame pause to communicate impact. Yeah, I was dead wrong. The combat in Hellblade 2 was terrible. I was being a bit of a fanboy because I loved Hellblade 1. I saw the problems in Redfall, called it, got a lot of flack for it, whatever. I was right. I defended Starfield, and then we started looking at gameplay, and then I was like, I don't know. Then they did their Starfield Direct, and I was like, man, this game could be it if they can get performance right. And then the veil gets pulled back on performance, and I was like, yeah, that's just not it. You can't launch a 30 FPS game. Like, that's just not it. Yo, V-Game Veteran with 5 months over there on Purple says, keep up the good work. Thank you so much. A strong start to the week, 118 already. You say at some point you refuse to play Highguard? I'm not going to try to play it today. It's going to be a disaster. We're going to watch the event, and then that'll be it. Everybody's going to be trying to download and install and get in at the same time. I'm not going to. That's not content worth my time. Like, we could try it another day this week, maybe. We could have, if you guys hit like a big stretch goal this week, we could make Madam play it. That would be hysterical. The studio for Highguard has nothing to show. They need to earn their respect, and hide their game until release. I don't necessarily mind being like elusive, like not showing anything. I think that's totally fine as a marketing standpoint. I question their judgment because of the fact that they, rolled that trailer out. It wasn't a good trailer. You got the ability to stream back? Yo, Teddy, yes. We got it back in April of last year. I was communicating with Dan Clancy via email. He looked into the situation and he reinstated the account. So, people went really quiet after that. Probably nervous about what he saw. Do you think Chris Barrett refiling his lawsuit will hurt Marathon? No. It'll hurt Bungie if they get to Discovery, which I'm praying happens. I really, really pray they don't settle with him. Storm Mage gifted a sub over there on purple, and that bumps the line to 119, but we're going to go to 120 because a member plus renewal from my man Rascal over here on YouTube. Thank you so much. And a VIP from hashtag Abe. Thank you so much, sir. If I remember correctly, you weren't very confident in Indy, and that was really well received. I thought Indy looked awkward because of the first person, and basically I played it, and I was like, this is built in a way. And Bellows gifted one over there on purple. Little member train cracking off between the two platforms. It's 49-23, though. Purple, you got to catch up. I don't think I ever came... Yeah, Teddy's been MIA for a while. Yeah. I don't think I ever came to a strong conclusion, Lone Wolf, before Indy came out. I said I thought it looked awkward. I didn't like the first-person choice. I would have loved a third-person Indy. And then I played it, and I was like, yeah, this just ain't for me. I was like, it's a quality game. It's well-built. The art direction's awesome. The level of detail they put in that game was awesome, but I was like, I'm not hanging with this. Did it even chart, though? Yeah, I don't know how well it did commercially. It was jank but fun. I think my observations were fair. I think there was definitely some jank and some awkwardness in the game, for sure. Thank you, Bison, for using your Prime sub over here on purple. Appreciate it so much. And Teddy's going to drop a 5-bomb over there on Twitch and get us to 128. Thank you so much, Teddy. Good to see you, brother. Yeah, we stream in both places, man, and all the support is immensely helpful. We greatly appreciate everybody watching, listening, liking, gifting, all the things. If you haven't hit like yet on YouTube, go ahead and do that. Any news about the Steam Machine? Nothing. Not a peep. Speculation on price is about all we've been getting. So there's a hype train incoming on purple. If you guys want to go a little crazy, get ready. You got about a minute countdown. And Stone Spire's going to gift a member on YouTube. We had a bit of a frame drop there. Seems like we're okay. And another one's going to come in from Stone Spire. So Stone Spire is trying to tempt somebody to do a 20 bomb. Because at 150, I owe you guys a member. I didn't even catch who hit the milestone. I'll just gift you guys each a member. But if you get a 20 bomb, your platform, I gift a member every 25. So thank you so much. Do you think Fable will launch in 30? I honestly don't know. If Fable launches this year, I'll be shocked. I'll be shocked. The more I've looked at it, the more I've looked at all the red flags. I put my video up about it. I don't think that game's coming this year, man. I think they've got a lot of work to do. I hope they're given the opportunity to do it because I think the game has massive potential. No, I never got around to playing Keeper. No. I wanted to, though. I need to check it out. Because it looked like it was going to be kind of similar. Not similar, but it reminded me of my experience with the Midnight Walk. I really like the Midnight Walk. It was a short game, but it was really cool. Good to see you on your old you got your old platform back below. Bro, I'm sorry. I will check in from time to time. I appreciate that, Teddy. Vaughn Raz is going to resub for 20 months over there on purple. Thank you so much, Mr. Vaughn Raz. Is the state of play just a rumor? It is currently just a rumor. It's not been officially announced. I feel like they've been doing February state of plays, though, for a while now. Confirm classes for what? Support, destruction, recon, defense, assault. What are these confirmed for? Is that for Marathon or is that for Highguard? Midnight Walk in VR is amazing. I heard that. I heard people were really enjoying it. Posted something in Discord. Yeah, I see it, Brett. I'm not going to take a look at it just yet. Hope you're not frozen to death over there. Happy Hour Electric customers here are limiting their usage. I've only had 3 calls. Yeah, we're all right. We're all right. We're a little frigid. We're trying not to blast the heat too much and been running, dripping the water at night, but we're okay. Mostly snow. I bought Mio, haven't played it yet. Have heard good things about it. It's good. It's good. I've definitely got some criticisms. Because of the just some of the retread, like when you get a new ability and stuff. It's a good Metroidvania. Combat feels great. Boss fights feel great. It can get a little tedious when you're like, I have to go all the way back to all these places now that I have a new ability. It can be a little bit tedious in that department. Other than that, I think it's fantastic. The art design's amazing. Soundtrack, amazing. The boss fights are so satisfying. They're very satisfying. There's a platform area I'm in right now I'm not too fond of. It's kind of giving me fits because I can't see. It's like I go to drop down into an area and I can't see what's down there. So I get there and I lose a bunch of my health and have to start over. Not because I'm making a mistake, but I literally can't see. You know? Thank you so much, Narwaffle, for gifting a member over there on Purple, getting us to 132. Appreciate it. I searched up the game, clicked and sub, hope to stick around. Thank you. If you guys have subbed today or you like the content, I am a Safe for Work broadcaster. I'm here Monday through Friday. It's basically a podcast. Hit like if you're on YouTube. Hit subscribe if you want to come back another day. Or make sure you hit follow on Purple. If you want to go beyond that and support directly with a membership, that does get you into our Discord, and it does help me do this full time. And if you're around enough, you might get one gifted to you. So I gift pretty regularly when we hit every 25 on the milestone. Let me keep bopping my food before I get a chance to play with it. Well, I told you that the other day, Zubair. They get really mad when things start to go well. Like, we've definitely turned and things are starting to improve. So they show up to, yeah. Isn't your timer off? No. Hour and 25 from now? Is when it's going? It's when it's happened? Yeah. It's at 1 o'clock Eastern, is it not? Do I have it wrong? I thought it was 1 o'clock Eastern. Yeah, 1 Eastern. Looking at it right now on YouTube. All right, I am going to gift one to each platform. I don't know who hit the last milestone. So, that's the stream, not the game release. Oh, it's downloadable in an hour. I don't know if that means the servers are live in an hour. Why did the hype train not happen? Did we not get a hype train over there on Purple? Or did I just miss it? Oh, do you have to fill it? I thought it was just letting us know someone was coming. Anyways, that's fine. I guess I don't understand Purple still. Steam says 1 hour. Okay. That was weird. It said incoming and it never started. I thought when it said incoming, it happened regardless. Maybe you guys had to fill the little meter. I thought once it said that, we were going to get one no matter what. I don't really know. That's weird. No worries. A lot of new people are hitting subscribe today. If you've never been here before, I hope you come back. Also, when we hit the goal down in the corner, you may have missed last night's segment. You can always go back and watch it. It's a public stream. Anybody can watch it. We have my wife react to gaming news. It's a fun time. And, yeah. It's a fun time. And we did that last night. You guys can check that out. And we appreciate it. I saw it say we need a sub or do bits to reach. Oh, did it really say that? I didn't see that. I don't understand how some of those work. The worst is when it does one like 5 minutes into the stream when nobody's here yet. I'm like, nobody's even here yet. Why are you doing a hype train? Like, I don't know. Code Vein is out in 3 days, I thought. I thought Code Vein came out on the 29th. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, you have to fill the bar. Oh. Stay to play soon? No idea. Oh, Highguard. I hope the game rocks. Thank you, Rame, for the €2 super chat. I appreciate it. Killing players, opening chests, killing mobs, giving currency to gear from the vendor in a raid mode. There's also a deathmatch mode with less max. A trusted insider previously responsible for leaks involving Flight Sim and on PS5 and Sonic Racing for Switch 2 has claimed that Take-Two is not planning physical disc editions of GTA 6 at launch to reduce the risk of leaks. That's not surprising. Do you want the game to succeed or fail? I don't have a desire for its success or its failure. What do you think about their marketing until now? I thought the trailer was terrible, and I thought the game looked bad. Highguard is Half-Life 3, and it's coming out tomorrow. The Half-Life Reddit is having a normal one. What the heck? They can't be serious. There were rumors that HLX replaced Highguard at the last minute, that Jeff Keighley had to play. They can't even spell Jeff Keighley's name right. Oh my gosh. That's funny. Can you please read my last message? Pan, you're on this all the time. Do you think Fable launch at 30? I already read that. Lono, thanks to your streams. It's a difficult period for me. I'm appreciative that you're here. Thank you. Saying the game is bad or will fail does not mean you want it to fail. Yeah, like when I said that Splitgate was going to struggle to maintain a player base, I liked Splitgate when I played it. I thought it was creative and fun. And I said, I don't think they're gonna be able to keep players. That doesn't mean I'm like, I hope this game dies. Like that's not how I don't make content like that. If it's good, then Lono gets to make a video about how he was wrong. If it's bad, then Lono gets to make a video about how he was right. He'll get you coming and going. Yes. That's kind of how it works. Now listen. I completely empathize with you, and I completely understand. There are people that do this when there's virtually no grounds for it. They took that snapshot of Aloy, photoshopped her to make fat, make her look chubby, and they tried to say like Horizon Forbidden West was going to be terrible. Everybody mauling over the bald chick in Intergalactic and say it's going to be woke trash. Like, listen, I get it. There's an entire industry on YouTube of just the grift of like hating something for the most ridiculous reasons. When it comes to a game like this, I'm not doing that. I'm not like, live service suck. I'm not doing like quick flyover. I'm like, well, let's look at everything they showed us. Art style seems incredibly familiar and generic. These are characters that could be in any game. That's not helping. Your gameplay looks very derivative. Movement, shooting, abilities, all look very familiar like I've seen them before. Looks like it's kind of a hero shooter. You got characters in the game with abilities coming onto the field and making like big, huge plays. People are a little fatigued with hero shooters right now. Looks like a PvP game with maybe some MOBA or PvE elements. It just doesn't seem like that there's a whole lot of draw for that right now. See, that's assessing what they showed us and being like, yeah, I don't think this game is gonna have legs. That's not hate. I'm not like, this is trash, it's gonna bomb, it's gonna flop because bald woman. It's like, no, I think there's plenty of evidence within the trailer itself that the game is going to struggle with broad appeal, and without that broad appeal, you don't have the recipe for a successful live service game. You don't. And yet COD's going back to hero classes next year. Yeah, people still insist that Ghost of Yotei didn't sell well, and it outsold COD in the US, which is just an insane achievement. So I understand how, like, you might come into a stream like this and just think it's some grifting hate, and it's like, no. No one's fatigued for hero shooters. No one is fatigued with hero shooters. So when a hero shooter trailer shows up and a bunch of people say, not another hero shooter, what do you think that is? Why do you think people are saying that? Arc Raiders is rolling out a new matching option, solo versus squads, in tomorrow's update. There will also be a new map condition, project, and Sandwalker cosmetic set. Trends are trends, then they play Marvel Rivals. I mean, I definitely think you could probably try to grab Marvel Rivals and claim that like hero shooters have tons of a chance. You know, they have a shot as well as anybody. I don't know if Rivals is the greatest example of that. Go look at Chris String's third tweet. What's String saying? Like Marvel helped, Overwatch being in a terrible state helped. Dring says, I know there's this sentiment that people don't want more big shooter games. It's just that there's not a single metric or statistic that remotely backs that up. See, but the problem with that is if you're only looking at the statistics of like where people spend their time, that's actually evidence as to why it's so hard to bring a new one to the market, because so many people are already spending such a massive amount of time within an existing shooter. Highguard's the one. This is the one. Yeah, like Paul just put in the Discord, multiple failed shooters. It's like, yeah, okay, Chris. Like, I like Chris String. I love his interviews. But, like, you can cite those stats all you want. What do those stats mean to the litany of failed shooters and failed live service shooters out there? What do those stats even mean? Like, there's way more failures than there are successes. Way more. Overwatch isn't doing poorly. When Rivals came out, Overwatch was not in a good place with its community. And plenty of people flocked to Rivals because they weren't happy with Overwatch. That was a significant portion of the dialogue at the time when that came out. You can't go by what people say on Twitter. Overwatch has recovered and got better due to Rivals being successful. Yeah, I've not really covered Overwatch or paid attention to Overwatch. I just know that when Rivals came out, plenty of people said, now's a great time to strike because Overwatch people are very unhappy and not thrilled with Overwatch. I'll agree, this being a hero shooter and not starting off in a great spot for sure. Yeah, the discussion on Highguard to me is interesting because like they failed to do a good job with marketing, so I don't know why people are angry at people for responding to bad marketing. I thought he was saying the opposite. Wait, you think Dring is saying, let me reread his tweet. Am I misunderstanding him? He says, I know there's this sentiment that people don't want more big shooter games. It's just that there's not a single metric or statistic that remotely backs that up. He's saying that if you believe people don't want more big shooter games, he's like, the metrics say otherwise. And this guy says every new big shooter is failing. And Dring says Arc Raiders, Battlefield 6, Delta Force, Helldivers 2. The problem with what Chris String is saying is Battlefield 6 player numbers plummeted very, very rapidly. Helldivers 2 player numbers have fallen quite a bit. They only go up when there's new content. I can't comment on Delta Force. Yes, Arc Raiders. Arc Raiders is not being played like a PvP shooter. It isn't. It isn't. I got news for you. I think the vast majority of people playing Arc Raiders are not playing it like a PvP shooter. They're not. They're playing it like a looter shooter. I'm here to tell you, if you think Arc Raiders is a testimony to the fact that you can come to the market right now with a PvP live service game, you have fundamentally misunderstood why Arc Raiders is so popular. Is it bad marketing if you've been talking about the game for 2+ hours? It's bad marketing when, in the absence of them saying anything, the public was just constantly speaking negatively about their game, and in large part, the public had decided they didn't want to play it. So, yes, me talking about the game for 2+ hours is because the event is happening today. I couldn't have done this a week or two ago, brother. I couldn't have. Do you understand what a search funnel is? Right now, the Highguard event is red hot in the search funnel. So my viewership's about twice as high as it typically is. That has nothing to do with good marketing. That's their choice. They didn't market it at all. You're commenting on the lack of marketing. I'm talking about the initial trailer. It was a bad piece of marketing. It was bad. It's completely disconnected from the public. This to me seems very, very interesting to me. Bad press is still good press? Not in this world, it's not. No, because people move on and decide they don't want to play it or give it another look. You can't miss this. They thought that trailer was a banger. They thought that trailer at the Game Awards was a banger. That's the studio behind this game. They put that together and thought the public's going to love this. People are going to want to play this. Brother, that's the team that's behind this game. I don't have confidence in a team that thinks that. The bad press turns into apologies. I tell you what this is going to be like. This is going to be like the day before launched. I had people in my chat. I had people on Reddit. I had people on Twitter very upset, very angry. Said I was going to hate play it. Said the game was going to be great. And then it wasn't. I liked it. Why do you speak for me? I never once claimed to speak for me, to speak for you. Why would I do that? I said the general public. Hi, Lono. Your volume's kind of low. I would check your settings. All of my stuff's totally normal. Any press is good press only worked when coverage was limited and you were competing for coverage. We're drowning in white noise now. Bad press kills you. People move on. They didn't pay for the slot, though. I didn't talk about them paying for the slot. I didn't say that. I already covered that. I know they didn't pay for the slot. You speak for the majority because you're honestly like any Reddit or YouTuber. You're legit just providing credibility through majority. No, I'm not providing credibility through majority. No, I'm saying that was bad marketing because the public responded negatively to it. Your marketing didn't... If you're going to measure the efficacy of marketing, you're going to measure it by how it was received. It wasn't received well. So I'm not saying I'm credible because the masses agree with me. That would be fallacy of the group. I'm not pulling fallacy of the group. I'm saying your marketing wasn't effective because the public rejected it. It didn't do its job. Its job was to convince everybody this game's going to be awesome. It convinced people of the opposite. Do you see? Like, I'm assessing how did the marketing do as a form of marketing. How well did it do? The most outspoken usually have no idea and just like the bandwagon. I'm the public. You're one piece of the public. You like the trailer? Okay. You're the minority. I don't know what's so hard to see here. A game came to the market at one of the biggest... It is the biggest event of the year for gaming. You're using the majority for credibility? No, you're completely misunderstanding my argument once again. You're having a very hard time with this today. You continue to misunderstand my points. When I correct you on that, you just insist I'm doing something I'm not doing. I am not saying, oh, I'm credible or the majority is credible. No, it's a mathematical equation. I'm being like objective about this. I'm measuring. I'm saying, here's a trailer. Its job is to convince people this game is good and it's worth playing. It has failed to do that if the majority has rejected it. I'm not talking about credibility. I'm not invoking credibility. I'm not invoking who's right or who's wrong. I'm saying this piece of marketing's job, it didn't do that. It did the opposite. It did the exact opposite. It became a laughing stock. It became mocked and jeered and criticized and rejected. That doesn't make the public right. It doesn't make the public right. I'm not arguing right or wrong. The customer is always right in matters of taste. That's the full quote. It's not that the customer's always right. The customer is always right in matters of taste. And the customer went, we don't want that. So as a piece of marketing, it did a very bad job. If they would have done a trailer with just the name, the announcement that it was coming, and teasers all along the way, and then they did this thing today with content creators, that would have been more efficacious marketing because you would have had people more interested instead of writing the game off. It's hard to get people interested once they've written something off. It's very, very difficult. The attention span of the internet is so quick, and kind of like to what Zubair was saying, there's so many trailers, there's so many things you can watch and consume and be convinced to spend your time or money on, whether it's a TV show or a new movie or a new series or a new subscription or a new game. We're getting inundated every single day. So if you get everybody's attention and a bunch of them say, that looks like crap, I'm not interested, that's a bad, bad day for you. Because guess what's going to happen? You never step in the same river twice. If you step in the river and step out of the river and step back in it, the water is moved. That is the internet. It's just woof. There's your shot. There it goes. Something else is now in its place. Something else people are watching. Something else people are playing. Do you see? I'd rather listen to professional esports players saying Highguard was fun AF. Just me, or the audio isn't synced. We keep getting people saying that. I've not changed anything. I don't know why this is happening. Give me a second. All right. It should be synced now. I don't know why that has changed. So preferring the input of esports players, I could totally see why that would matter to you if they were speaking on their area of expertise, which is esports. Like, how does it play? Is it balanced? Is it going to be competitive? Is this a good esport? Okay. That's not really what we're questioning right now. We're questioning, can the game appeal to the public, to the broad audience? One thing I've noticed about sweaty players, esport players, professional players, they have a hard time remembering what it's like for the common man, what it's like for the day-to-day player, the working dad, the busy mom, the college student, the guy with 2 jobs trying to make ends meet. He ain't going to play the game that way. He ain't going to play the game that way. So a lot of the times I think the esports players can commentate on particular things that they have an expertise in, but broad audience is vague. Congratulations. You're exactly correct. Broad audience is vague. Yes. You need lots of people to try out your game to give it its maximum potential shot if you want it to be a successful live service game. You're basically saying it'll die because it'll have a small casual fan base. No, I've not said that at all. The most frustrating thing about you, and this is why I'm very suspicious of you, you just consistently repackage my argument in a false way, and it seems intentional. I don't think you argue in good faith. I don't. You strike me as a dishonest person on their alt, and you're attempting to stir up trouble. And what you'll do is you'll keep doing this. You'll keep flat tiring the chat. Eventually I'll get irritated and ban you, so then you can clip and say that Reforge bans people for disagreeing. I've done this many, many times. I'm on to you. The pattern in the argument is very consistent with you. You're very dishonest. You've re-summarized my argument now for like the 7th or 6th time, and you falsely do it. You completely misrepresent what I'm saying. So I waste time going, that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. Here's what I'm saying. You never answered my logicals? I don't know what a logical is. My logicals. What do you mean? You've not said anything that I haven't responded to. Chat's even talked about how I'm getting one guide. I'm conversing with you more than the rest of chat. Broad audience is vague. Merriam-Webster. Yeah, like what the heck? The entire crux of my argument is very simple. Live service games need a broad funnel and ongoing players. I think a broad funnel is difficult when so many people in the public wrote the game off and said that they didn't like it or they weren't interested. Broad funnel is also difficult if the game is sweaty and competitive. The other thing that's challenging, it's hard to have ongoing players and people coming back if your game is sweaty and competitive. It's hard having people coming back and playing your game if initially people were kind of like, I don't really want to play that. Does that make sense? Like, I think my position is very fair. It's like, if you need a very broad funnel, so tons of people jump in day one, because it's a mathematical equation. If 1 million people try out your game, a percentage of those people will keep playing, and then a percentage of that group will come back a month later, right? It whittles down from there, always. It always whittles down from that player funnel, okay? Every single time. Big, huge funnel, then people kind of keep playing, lots of people stop, and then after that, you have like that core audience that keeps coming back, okay? So, that is true. So the less number of people you put in week one, the less likely you're going to have enough players long term. You have now limited the reach of your game. You've limited the reach of your game. So your ongoing engagement's going to struggle in that department. If right at the beginning you're not getting a ton of people to jump in and play. This is 100% a common theme, an ongoing theme within live service games, is that if you're going to have success, you really need inertia, momentum, velocity. These are words they use. This is why when you listen to like Bungie do like a GDC presentation, they talk about being fast. Right? He says a great game that is slow will slowly become a dead game. A fast game can become great over time because you're reacting, you're responding, you're interacting with the audience, you're creating inertia, momentum, velocity. These things matter. You start losing players, like Bungie's talked about that, right? Like if you get to a certain point, you get below minimum viable player base numbers, and you're in a crisis because you don't have enough people playing. I forgot to schedule. Shoot, that's okay. So I would say that in general, if you're going to have a successful live service game, if you're going to go the distance so that in 6 months you're good, you're solvent, you're making money, you're continuing to update, you've got players coming back, if that's going to happen, you need a lot of these things lined up from day one. And I don't think this game has that. That's just been my assessment. I think it's a very fair assessment. I don't think I'm hating. I think I'm basically saying if we're making mathematical, predictions here, like probability predictions, this game is looking like, hang on, I hear something. I was making sure somebody wasn't crying. All right, hang on. I got to schedule this. We're going to do a separate stream for the co-stream just because I have no idea what they're going to do. Okay. No, let's do this. Okay. I'm scheduling with my my gaming rig. It's a little bit easier because I can like see more. Okay. This and this and this. Okay, there we go. All right, got it. All right. Okay. This guy said, gotta love woke gamers who want lore and story in a shooter game. I can't believe that's a real sentence that somebody typed. I didn't. Did you guys know that was woke? That's woke, bro. That's woke. Oh my gosh. Oh, that was freaking woke, bro. You're both woke and far right. That's just the nature of it. Guys, I need 20 more likes on the video. 20 more likes. Get me to the next like milestone of 400. I need a quick break. Don't go anywhere. We're also working on the next milestone where I will owe you guys a member. All right, I'll be right back. Okay. I've been having to move the chair that way because it's just so much static pops off of it. I'm worried it like messes with my monitor and stuff. Guys, thanks for 400 likes while I step away. That's so helpful. Thank you. I appreciate it very, very much. Like Destiny is a live service shooter, and for the most part, the story in it's pretty good. It has its lows for sure, but it's still enjoyable. Well, I think lore is not necessary, but it can be very helpful. You need something metal to ground yourself on. I've literally been thinking of like hanging a hanger off the back of the chair. So if it's going to do it, it just goes that way. It just, I don't know. Here's your PC case metal. I have no idea. I think it arcs and hits the boom is what it does. Like it arcs off the chair and hits the boom. What time is the release? Apparently you can download it right now. There's going to be a stream that we'll be able to watch in like an hour. So I get a lot of bass from your videos. I noticed my headphones didn't like it the other day. I've never had anybody complain about my bass. I mean, I've got the EQ bass a little heavy, but I've never had anybody complain about that. I don't know. I mean, I listen to my streams if I'm like hunting for like a section or a clip or something, and I've never felt like it was too bassy. Yeah, the game is releasing today. You should be able to download it like right now. Yeah. Lore is just an additional interest for you if you're already interested in the game. Yeah, like it doesn't have to be there, but if it's there, it can be extra. It can be good. It can be, you know, something that gives the story more punch, or it gives you a reason to come back, or, you know, any number of reasons. To like have an audience that cares. It sounds professional to me. It's well balanced and not too tinny. Yeah, I kind of obsess over audio quality, and I feel like when I listen to my audio, it sounds pretty good. My gaming headset was not enjoying it. I watched the Fable video. My headset probably does not need replacing, though. I think sometimes the uploads do sound like they've had some kind of an audio pass on them, but I don't know if that's something that's happening in the editing. I don't think Creature does anything to them. I don't think he goes in and like boosts them or something. It could just be an audio pass that the software does, maybe, that boosts the bass a little bit. I don't know. I've noticed that a few times on the uploads. I feel like they're a little bit bassier than the live stream. Not in a bad way. I'm not like, oh gosh. I'm just like, oh, it just sounds a little bit bassier. I've actually had people say that on my uploads. I rarely have them say that on my live streams. I've had people leave comments and say, man, you're a little bassy. And I'm like, I usually listen on my phone, though, so it's hard for me to tell. When I'm watching an upload, I usually pull it up on my phone and just, like, chat with you guys when it's going. Is it PC only? No, this is going to be on multiple platforms. Like, basically all of them. Oh, it's not on the Switch. Sorry. When I say multiple platforms, I'm thinking like it's on Xbox, PlayStation, and PC. Like, I don't think of Switch when I think of games like this. They just, live service games typically don't target the Switch. My bad. Full game release, it's guaranteed. What's Big Monkey claiming? Almost wasted 40. What are you talking about? It isn't. It's coming in an hour at 1. Can't download on... Oh, you can't? People in chat were saying you could download it. I assume the servers wouldn't be live until after the event. Real platforms. Not real platforms, but you know what I'm saying. It kind of looks like a hybrid of Apex and Overwatch. People were saying it reminded them of Paladins. I never played Paladins, so I couldn't tell you. A Nintendo Direct is coming next week. It is claimed. Yeah, we're hearing some rumors that there'll be a Nintendo Direct and there'll be a PlayStation State of Play. Yes, we're hearing both. Oh, you guys got me to 500 sub points. Did we hit it? We did it. We hit it. All right, let's hit the next one. All right. Start a new goal. All right, let's get to 750 total sub points. All right. I'll give 5 subs when we hit that goal. I'm gonna start setting some bigger goals for us. We got to get back to the thousands. We were up like 1,500 sub points at one point. Yo, what's good, feed? How much will Highguard cost? Highguard is free to play. Hope to see a release date for Duskbloods. Yeah, Duskbloods is an interesting one. That's an interesting one. It's an out of season April Fool's joke. There is no game. That's right. What's your balancing philosophy? Are you leaning towards the ranked sports side or leaning towards the casual power fantasy? The way that people described it, Ninja, was that it's sweaty. And I'm like, that doesn't sound... Again, you had people at an event that were kind of figuring it out. Like, Myth gets on cam, and he's like, it took us a while. We weren't really quite sure how the game flowed. They got it. They figured it out. Yo, Victor, thanks so much for using your Prime sub. Boom. Let me add it to the total. You know, and they all said that it was sweaty, you know, really competitive. I don't see this thing turning into an esport. I mean, I don't know about y'all. It just doesn't seem like it. But I also don't see a game that's going to appeal to casuals either. I just don't. You going to play it? Not today. I'm not going to play it. No, it's going to be a bit of a disaster with everybody trying to download it at once. Yeah. If the game fails, will it boost Titanfall 2 numbers? I don't think so. I mean, I don't think people are going to suddenly go clamor to play that. When is the door giveaway? The door giveaway. Is that a reference to a long time ago? Didn't somebody come in and ask about a giveaway of something totally random? Is that what you're referring to? I feel like that's a distant memory from a long time ago. Like my Twitch days. Yo, it's good feed. They better have a super secret weapon that they didn't show in the trailer. Not hopeful. A man of taste. He's not going to play. It's going to be a disaster. Everybody downloading the game at once. Trying to download it at once. Everybody trying to play it at once. I usually use the afternoon to like plan the next day's shows and, you know, plan if I'm going to do like an upload or something. This being sweaty could be good. Rivals isn't an FPS and the PvP scene's pretty stale. My issue with it being sweaty is I just feel like it's really, really hard to keep people coming back. The New Zealand tweet is a total joke, bro. You have to look. He's claiming like 5 million people are playing in New Zealand. It's not real. He's goofing around. There was a guy that retweeted it and said that like everybody, the entire population apparently is playing. I thought Lono was playing it for sure. No, I'm not going to try and play it today. It's not worth it. No. That's not worth it. We'll sit and just be frustrated in queues and everything else. It's also not my kind of game. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, wow, we're going to sit around and wait in a queue to watch Lono play a first-person shooter MOBA hero game. I think it's going to be a sleeper hit. I mean, I don't play Overwatch or Marvel Rivals anymore, but from what I can tell, people are looking for an excuse to leave those games and play something else. Can someone explain to me what this game is about? I literally came out of nowhere. What's it about? We know that there are horses. We know that it's PvP. We know that there are mechanics like getting a sword, opening up a door, a siege engine gets called. Hope you stream the Neo 3 demo this Wednesday. I might. I think Neo 3 is going to be it might be a little hard for my old man brain, but I'm happy to check it out. I'm hoping I can finish Memories in Orbit. This is clickbait then. Why is it titled Highguard Showcase? Because there is an official Highguard Showcase starting in 45 minutes that we're going to be covering. There's a literal stream coming up, brother. I didn't say Highguard gameplay. It's Highguard Showcase. Do you know what a showcase is? It's usually like a reveal, a stream, an event of some kind. Have you played the game before? No. You beat Kazan and Elden Ring, you got this. I beat Elden Ring back when I could hang with those games and not like I started losing it in Elden Ring, but like I turned the difficulty down in Kazan. Welcome to the Reforged waiting room. That's right. What's good, Alex? Yo, Victor Mayhem on both platforms, bumping the line to 134. This isn't my cup of tea, but I'm always interested in seeing how the gaming community responds to these. Thank you, Victor, for 57 months. I'm here to see if Lono tries not to laugh again during the showcase. Lono, have you seen the 17 minutes of gameplay for Neo 3? I'm kind of hyped. Yeah, Code Vein goes live today? I thought Code Vein launched on the 29th. Can you do like early access or something? I saw a study that said people marked drop-off in abilities at 44 and 60. I turned 44 last year. Yeah. Stalker in the chat. I mean, why would anybody care about that pervert incest pest? Like, I don't know why anybody pays attention to him. Freaking weirdo. People should just do what we did. Kick him out of your communities. Little experimental FromSoft days, such potential. I really like Sekiro. And I really, really liked... No. I'm sorry. I liked Dark Souls 3. I really liked Sekiro. I liked Elden Ring for about half of it. And then... I don't have the temperament for those games. I just don't. You know what I mean? I don't have the temperament for those games. I fall off really quickly. Don't say that. I turn 44 next month. I have to take my glasses off to look at things up close. I have to take my glasses off to look at things up close. And, yeah. And I really, really struggle with fast games or challenging games now. I just can't do it. I can't hang. Yeah. I know a player that's 80, still plays GTA and Red Dead. You can still game. It's just going to be a little bit more challenging than you. You know what I mean? It's just going to be a little more challenging. Oddly enough, Lono is what got me into Souls games in that stretch that you have between 2022 and 2023. I know there were people that were like, hey, I'm going to try it. You know, if Lono can do it, I can try it. Because, like, I had never really played those games. You know? I'll get you through the Neo demo. How are you going to get me through? Are you going to coach me? You got this, Lono. You got this. I said marked drop-off in abilities. Not that they died and couldn't play games anymore. Yeah, you're just slower. You're just slower, man. When I went to the eye doctor, she said, yeah, once you get into your 40s, your eyes, something about them get they get harder or something. They can't flex as easily. So when you have glasses on, like I do, I don't even have a strong prescription. Like, I don't even need my glasses to drive. But when I hold something right here, I have to go like this, and everything's clear. This is, you know what I mean? It's just where I am. From Friday was goated. From Friday was fun. From Friday was fun, man. Lono doesn't realize next year is when the aching in the bones and muscles begins. What do you mean begins? It already happened. That's why I'm stretching and riding the bike every morning. I'm fighting a losing battle. I'm fighting a losing battle with time. You're back. Welcome back. We're going to switch gears here in about 8 minutes. I'm going to start a new stream so that we just have a stream of the showcase. So... You got a Titanite shard. That's right. It's a shame we lost that clip. The world's undefeated boss, time. That's right. I'll see you on the other side. Saddest stream I've ever heard right now. Old man fighting against time. Why are they doing a showcase when the game goes live? You're 40. I'm 44. I mean, I'm assuming they're going to be. I'm assuming they're going to try to convince everybody to play it today with mechanics. The streamers came and played it. So, you know, Dante says, for your sanity, don't play Expedition on Expert or above. Resurrecting enemies, enemy immunities on the fly, turn steals and interruptions, dead enemies still attacking. Yeah, that game can get a little wild on the harder difficulties. I've seen the footage. How many players are we predicting in the first hour? I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, I think the biggest challenge is going to be, are people going to put up with server queues for a game that they're kind of already iffy on? You know, people put up for a server queue for a game they're excited about, not one that they're like morbidly curious about. Why wouldn't they start the showcase like an hour before the game releases rather than simultaneously? I don't know. Good sense of humor keeps you young. This is true. What's good, Ginger? Lono knows Dark Souls, the knife clip was the best. The knife clip? I don't remember a knife clip. Is the game actually releasing in 30 minutes? I don't know. I mean, I think people are assuming that. I'm not assuming that. I am not assuming that. They're doing a showcase in 30 minutes that we're going to watch. I have no idea if the game is going to go live at the exact same time. This has been one of the most interesting things that I have ever covered. I will say that. It's been one of the most interesting things I've ever covered. I'll tell you what they did. They got everybody's attention, but I don't know if they got it for the right reasons. So, and yet a lot of people running out there being all like, well, I don't know why people are hating on this game. It's like, I don't know why anybody's excited about this game. My tinnitus. That's right. Oh, the Titanite knife. Oh, that's not a knife, Raven. It's like a shard. It's like an item that you find. Yeah, you just found a Titanite shard. Yeah. I know. All right, guys, in 4 minutes, those of you that are on YouTube, I'm going to give you a link, and we're going to go to a new stream. And the reason we do that is when somebody comes later and wants to see the showcase, I don't want to have them have to watch, like, a really, really long, you know, waiting room like we've been doing something, right? If you aren't doing a handstand and joy about something, it's hate. I like that, Gene. That's good. That's good. That's excellent. Okay. Let me send this tweet. Okay. Hang on. Yo, my man Dan coming in. Yesterday's stream was more entertaining than the football games. I enjoyed it. Keep on keeping on. Thank you, man. Let me add you to the total. We're at 135. We're 15 away from the next. Okay, let me do that. Let me undo that. 41 months from QBZ. Thank you so much, QBZ. For 41 months. Let me delete that one. Looks like a double post. Okay. All right, YouTube. If you want to head over now, you can. That's a new stream. All right. If you want to head over now, that's a new stream. We're going live over there in like 1 minute. Okay. Yo, thank you, Nick. Gifting a member to the channel, getting us to 136. I appreciate it very, very much. I think it's the horse riding that throws me off. It just looks weird. It's more than the horse riding for me. It's also just like the abilities in the shooting. It just immediately feels like super familiar. You know? It just does. Game comes out at 12. That's what they're... Oh, the game comes out 2 hours after the showcase. Is that what you guys are seeing? All right, hang on. Let me get the thing pulled up. You guys that are following and supporting on Purple, I greatly appreciate that. Thank you very, very much. Hang on. I got to pull the stream up. I want to have it pulled up before we go to the thing. I don't think I can. Hang on. I can't pull it up in my history. Highguard showcase. All I find is me. I don't find their official channel. Oh my gosh. Here it is. Here's their channel. Okay, so I'm gonna do this, and then I'm gonna go like that. There we go. All right, here we go. We're gonna transition to the new stream on YouTube. All right, you guys on Purple don't have to do anything. Thank you so much for checking out this video. This is going to be my co-stream of the Highguard showcase, the official Highguard launch showcase. That's what they're calling it. Apparently the game is going to go live and be playable 2 hours after this. Obviously, I'm one of the people that's been very, very skeptical and doubtful about this game. I think it looks like it is very derivative and generic. I don't see this having a whole lot of legs to go the distance as a live service game. People have been classifying what I've been doing as hate. I don't feel like it's hate. I feel like a lot of us kind of rejected the game just based off of that first trailer. I'm going to end the stream where we were kind of doing a waiting room for this event. I'm going to bring people over with the redirect feature on YouTube. So thank you guys so